Kanpai!
Have a drink.
Tasty drink.
Yep.
So, hello everybody. Welcome to Kanpai Cast episode 30. Today we'll be nattering on again a bit with my co-hosts here, Xenogelion and Nasuth. Unfortunately, I am once again replacing MDR Loz, who doesn't have a working internet connection. So, a bit of housekeeping for everyone, just to remind you guys, we do have timestamps in the chapters below, allowing you to navigate to the different sections of the show as, you know, whatever you feel like is more interesting to watch. And the other thing we have to discuss is we have to apologise for the delay to last week's episode. Unfortunately, there was some confusion, some forgetting, and the episode did get released late. And we have slapped the person responsible. It's unfortunate, but we have to leave him in charge again this time.
He's lucky we didn't make him commit Sudoku.
Yes, we did not make him commit Sudoku. The next thing to move on to is the news with Nasuth.
Oh, also, Loz still doesn't have a working internet connection, obviously.
We said that at the start.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
It's like, he was like, I'm still here. Loz doesn't have an internet connection still.
It's the time change. It's just, it's messing with me, you know?
For those of us in the UK and Europe, some parts of America have their daylight savings time just weeks earlier than we do. So poor Nasuth is suffering a little bit. Do forgive him.
Well, it's super weird because they change it after we change in October, and then they change, or is it November? One of the two. And then they change before us in March. And it's just like freaking.
It's all about where the sun is.
That's not weird at all, Zeno. It's because they're further south.
Yeah.
The sun doesn't start going down late, at the same point as us. So they can
say the
do
last
a shorter
Sunday
duration.
of the month. Just say the last Sunday of the month. It's not that hard. Everyone knows when the fuck it is. It doesn't move. Ours is the last Sunday of October and the last Sunday of March.
That's silly. That's a silly way to do things. Anyway, shall we move away from that and into the news?
At least we don't base it on the fucking moon. Yeah, it does.
Shush! Jeez. So I've actually got a few pieces of news this week. So the Journal of Anime and Manga Studies, joins the Directory of Open Access Journals. This is just one for the nerds out there. The staff of the Journal of Anime and Manga Studies announced on March 1st they have joined with the DOPAG, or DOAG, sorry. And as in J letters, which is an independent directory launched in 2003 that indexes roughly 17,500 peer-reviewed open access journals on a variety of topics. So the JAMS is described as being dedicated to the scholarly analysis of anime, manga, cosplay, and fashion surrounding these areas for researchers and fandom, and the fandom surrounding these areas for researchers and those interested in anime and its culture. So if you're interested in that, go look up the Illinois Open Publishing Network, and you can.
What does this mean?
So they write peer-reviewed research papers on, like, think of it as anthropological research. They are studying a section of the culture and its effects on society, and then you can just go look up their research papers and see what you think about it. That's for free. A lot of research papers are put behind like paywalls and stuff.
Oh God, tell me about it.
So
So I like the fact that it's been officially recognised that manga and anime are actually culture at long last.
Oh yeah. You can honestly say you're a person of culture.
For a given meaning of the word.
We've been recognised, weebs. We've been recognised.
Yeah, just don't forget that yogurt was recognised as having culture long before we were.
Fair.
Okay, next one.
So a couple pieces of bad news. Overlord Season 4 animes... Overlord 4 anime season second video reveals July premiere, which is essentially all we know. We have until then to find some way to stop it or destroy the world or something.
So it's coming in summer 2022.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And on a similar vein, the live-action Full Metal Alchemist sequel films preview Hohenheim, Bradley, Ling, and Olivier in their new production stills. So not only, here's the thing, not only are they making one sequel, they're making 2 sequels to this terrible, terrible movie. Second movie premieres on May 20th, and the third will open on June 24th. If you'd like to look at the stills to see how they've interpreted these characters, you can go to the film's official Twitter account, which is
this year.
Yes. I don't know how to say this. Hagaren movie. Hagaren. That's
this year.
This year. 2 of them. Within months of each other, or within a month of each other.
This must mean that they didn't stop production.
Yeah.
After the first one.
It's gotta be.
I have several questions. And none of them I can ask because they all involve profanity.
Are they actually questions, or are they just like horrible retching noises?
They're things like what the, why the, how the, and this is real?
So if you know how they looked in the first part with like the character designs and the outfits and everything, it's just more of that. It's literally just more of that. It's not, I don't think it looks good at all. It's gonna be all.
Do not want.
Finally, though, on a good note, the latest Eva movie, Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, wins the Japan Academy Film Animation of the Year. The other nominees were Belle, Jujutsu Kaisen 0, Fortune Favors Lady Nikuko, and Sing a Bit of Harmony. None of these are familiar to me, really.
I actually, to be fair, so I really want to see Belle. Belle is
I've heard good things about that.
Beauty and the Beast. I really want to see it. I keep on catching bits of the audio and the singing and things. I'm just like, oh damn, that song sounds really good. I'm not really one for musicals.
To see more winners in different categories, you can either visit Anime News Network for a translated copy or the official website, which is untranslated. I don't know if we want to include the ANN link. Yep. Yeah, one more piece of news I forgot about. Rising of the Shield Hero 2 slated for April 6th. Much of the crew are returning, but Masato Jinbo will be replacing Takayo Abo as director. So, hopefully good things. Hopefully they don't. New director means it'll still. If the rest of the crew are all still there, hopefully the quality will remain the same.
Yeah.
All I know is my gut tells me maybe.
Right. Okay. So that's it for the news. It's time for the topic. This week's episode, we are basing it on. It's another trope versus trope, and we're basing it on. Which was it? A CBR article.
The article is 15 common.
No, that's wrong. 10.
Yeah, it says 10, but there's 15. That's weird.
Yeah. They don't know how counting works.
Yeah. Yeah. 15 common tropes, or 10 common tropes you see everywhere via CBR.com.
I think it's really interesting though, because I reckon they put 10 only because people will search top 10.
Top 10, yeah.
Right? Even though there's 15. Right? So should we jump to the first one?
Yes. Does anyone else want to read it out, or shall I take it?
You take it.
Right. So the first one is generic self-insert protagonist, which we shorten just to self-inserts. A self-insert is the phenomenon where a protagonist is generic and plain by design, so a reader or viewer can put themselves into that character's shoes for the sake of wish fulfillment. It's not just anime that does this, but anime is notorious for doing it quite often, especially in the isekai genre. Some characters are notorious for being self-inserts, with Kirito the Black, Being a notable example, these characters tend to be adolescent males, but shoujo series might also do this with its heroines, so female viewers can imagine the perfect male love interest fawning over them instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is a really interesting one to me, because it's such a common trope to have in any media.
It honestly is, yeah.
You have to have the audience able to relate to the situation. You have to provide a window, a gateway into this world. And the reason it's become a problem is because they have decided so often to make the character that is your window be so bland. It's the lowest common denominator that everybody can replace, because they either do nothing, or they do something that's so predictable by the plot that anybody would have done it.
So,
and,
I want to quickly say something. Just so everyone is aware, shows that are currently appearing on the screen, these were our picks for these tropes, right? There is no special tropes database that all of this stuff falls under. These are our picks.
Yeah.
So if you don't agree with them, please feel free to say in the comments, I can't believe you put so-and-so in that trope. But it's, again, you may agree with it, you may disagree with it. It's a matter of opinion.
Be gentle. Xeno took a lot of time putting these tropes together.
Oh my god. No, that's not what I put a lot of time putting together.
Into getting it working so that it would actually all show up on our stream like this. It's quite a bit of backroom work.
I do feel that one of the most egregious sides of self-insert characters is the fact that there is no backstory to the character. We know nothing about these characters. And Xenogelion, right? Or Gurren, whatever his name is. He is such a self-insert character. Yes, okay,
he's completely blank.
He is completely blank, right? Because you can propose, I would do it this way, or I would do it. You don't know what, I think all we knew was he was a gamer at one point, Well, I don't even remember.
Not even when he's an older gamer, obviously.
Even when he's in his quote-unquote human form as Momon, you never see his face. Even the one time he took his helmet off, they only showed him from behind.
Oh, that's a fair point, actually.
It's so you can impose yourself onto him.
I honestly don't get the appeal of this. Why would anyone want to impose, to self-insert in anything? I don't get it.
Okay, that's a completely different thing. Self-insert in anything, because that is such a huge thing. To some degree, everybody wants to see themselves in a different world or in a different. It's literally the key to escapism, is being able to experience another place, or another time, or another situation. That is what self-inserting is all about.
The problem is that you can have a self-insert character that's still a character. You want to make these. You want to make somebody want. So, let's take a good example. Let's take Trigun, right? You want to be Vash. You don't want Vash to be a blank slate that you can then put yourself into. You want to be Vash because Vash is just so cool.
I'll take that in another sense. Think about what Xeno said about Xenogelion. You'd never see his face. The one time he takes off his helmet, he's from the back. What other character does that happen to that is more interesting? Slayer from Goblin Slayer.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, because you can't directly relate to his experiences. You can't directly relate to his.
We do actually see his face, though, don't we?
Yes, eventually. Eventually, we see his face. I think it's in the manga.
Okay.
It's way beyond what we've actually seen in the show.
No, the manga's the translated manga is really close to where the show finished, but we don't see his face. Period. Just don't see it.
So no, it's we only see him from the back in any of these situations. So
but he's also more of a character.
He's our window into thing, but nothing he does is directly relatable in a sense, because none of his reactions are things that we would think of directly. We are not that driven. We are not that hurt on the inside. We are not in that world in that sense. But he's still the insert character. We still want to be him when we look at the world he's in.
So maybe it is like so again, yeah, I wouldn't mind, like, you know, self-inserting myself as, I mean, Stan Lee said, I'm trying to pick my words carefully. Stan Lee said that the reason why Spider-Man was covered head to toe was for the idea that anyone could be Spider-Man, even you could be Spider-Man.
Yeah,
right.
All it needs is somebody to have the powers and pick up the mask.
Yeah,
it's all over the later movies as well to have that every man's hero.
Yeah, but Spider-Man still has that tragic backstory, you know, the so on and so forth. And to me, that is more appealing to self-insert than generic character that has literally nothing to him.
I think the difference is whether it's a character first that you then want, you want people to identify with it, or whether it's such a blank slate because you want literally anyone to identify with it and not just necessarily a certain subset or a certain group.
So I named a couple in the run-up to the show to put a couple into the categories here, and they're not very good shows overall. I don't think anybody would call them that, but I use them as examples here of when you can actually do things right with a self-insert. And the two that I picked up, hold on, just got to actually find my list again. Yeah, were Angel Beats and Clannad. And it sounds very strange to say it, because these aren't really all that great as anime, but they do something that's actually very important, which is when you've got your self-insert character who is literally just a window to see how all the other characters work, how they interact with each other, tell their stories and get their experiences, solve their problems. I believe Clannad actually does very well, because I don't think they actually go through too much of the other stereotypical tropes of these kind of harem self-insert things. But at the end of each show, they go through a story arc that actually helps the main character, that resolves their problems and does actually round out the story in a way that makes the character a character. So you can have a generally not so good story, but the self-insert is done in the right way.
I've never watched Planet.
Neither have I.
I have watched Angel Beats. I hear that Clannad ends on a bit of a sad note and things. I've watched Angel Beats and I did enjoy it and things. I wouldn't say I ever felt the draw to self-insert in Angel Beats, because I liked just witnessing the narrative as it was going. I think, again, part of the draw to self-insert may come from, I don't know, not enjoying what you're watching enough.
Because there is definitely that effect.
I mean, so Loz and I very much have very, very deep interest in, oh gosh, what's the name of the My Dress Up Darling, right? So we are really enjoying My Dress Up Darling, and I don't think at any point in time do either of us think to ourselves we would like to take the role of Gojo, right? We want to see what Gojo does. No, shut up, you. Right? No, we want to see what Gojo does. We want to see his actions, right? we don't necessarily want to see. We don't want to impose what we would do. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I think that one, because of the subject in question, is because they actually really went in and defined Gojo as a character first. So he is distinct from the audience. He's our window into it, but he's not a self-insert because, again, we want to see him evolve as a character.
Yeah, not every oh gosh, I know there's a term for it. It's not just, protagonist or window into the universe. There's an actual term for it. I've forgotten it completely. But I think there is a difference between that and a self-insert, even though they can overlap.
So I have 2 questions for the pair of you before I think we should move on. My first question, followed immediately by my second one, is do you think completely blank generic protagonists are good for any plot? So Thaylien's giving a no?
Not really. I think that every character in a story deserves to be explored and filled out as a character. Even the audience character needs something to make them interesting. You can draw parallels with all sorts of anime out there that just miss that essential function. Isekai cheat magicians and sword art, they miss the point that these characters actually have to grow as people and become distinct from from what they were at the start. They put all the effort into the other characters and they don't do it to the main one. And the characters can be as bland as you like when you start out with. Frodo is fucking bland as all hell, but he does grow as a character over the time of his adventures. And you see how it changes him. But he's not... That doesn't stop him from being a self-insert in that sense. Because he is a little whiny bitch.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? My cat was being a bit of a butthole.
Yeah. Right. So, do you feel that completely blank protagonists are good for any show narrative?
I can't really think of a situation where they would be.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Although, and then before we move on. Oh, no,
I haven't. Second question, right? Second question. I completely agree with both of you, right? And I'm going to let Nasuth lead the answer to the second question.
Okay.
So hopefully his cat is not being a butthole.
You can still hear him in the background being a bit of a whiner, but
butthole, right? The second question I have is characters that are loosely defined, characters that have a bit of a backstory, but a lot of mystery behind them. Are they good for a plot narrative?
I think they can be. I think it depends on... Okay, the whole J.J. Abrams mystery box thing, where they never really plan to solve the mystery, they just want to use it to lure people in. That kind of character, no. But one that you do start to learn things about, that'd be fine for a narrative.
I think it's fine, because I want to argue that point. I feel that Goblin Slayer fits this description, and I am fine with Goblin Slayer not getting more development in terms of his backstory, as long as he isn't the plot driving force. Because the problem with the J.J. Abrams stuff is that the mystery box is like
the only driving force.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Goblin Slayer is not the only driving force for the narrative. He is just part of the journey.
Right.
See, I'm content with them not exploring his backstory as long as he grows as a character.
Which he has done thus far.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm going to point out a rather silly show that actually has that same effect, but to a more extreme degree. Because everybody thinks this show is a self-insert show.
Okay.
And it's Everyday Life with Monster Girls.
Oh god, that's Monster Musume.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And everybody thinks it's a self-insert show. But it really... It doesn't qualify because it's the same kind of thing as Goblin Slayer, where the main character has only a few things. He's only defined by what he does. We don't know anything about him. We don't know his parents or his things. Hell, most people have to Google his name. And, it's Kimihito Caruso. But it's most people don't even know his name. And we don't know what he does for a living. We don't know any of the ways. We know that what he's good at. He's good at cooking and balancing the books. That's one of those things. And the self-insert part of it comes from things like what's on screen, where he gets wrapped up in in his
wrapped up in his work, you might say.
Coils. Yes, wrapped up in his work, and his and we know how we would react in that situation, and we can think logically how he would react, get embarrassed, try to get out of that situation, but we don't know him. So the manga beyond the show has shown exactly how he can overcome his basic embarrassment and get on with things as long as things are needed. As long as he feels the need, he'll get over what his normal reactions are, what the self-insert character's reactions are, and he'll actually, develop more personality as we go. And sometimes it's used for need, sometimes it's used for comedy. And I always bring that early scene in the anime up, where you got the three girls competing to see what he likes the most. Is it hips? Is it bust? Is it cuteness? Everything else? What part of them does he find most attractive? And he looks straight ahead at the wall, 1,000 miles there, and just says legs, which none of them
have.
And even funnier, at the very next episode, they introduce the Arachne girl who has 8 legs.
Who has only legs, yeah.
So, and so we now know, one of his preferences, but played for comedy. It's not a. There are other things that come with the plot, like how his, reactions are, and I kind of want to see it, but not for the obvious reason. Are those times when he overcomes his natural reactions? Like there's a whole arc of the manga devoted to a farm. It's a milk farm run by Minotaur girls who are the source of the milk.
Okay,
and
all right.
He's asked to go help them out because they're having trouble, and his milking technique is apparently extremely good, and that's not something that the character in the beginning of the show would have been able to do. And events progress, and it's kind of the kind of thing that I don't think would ever be played quite as seriously in the show. But it does show that he actually grows, and he doesn't react the way we expect him to quite a lot of the time. But just because the character's a secret doesn't mean he's, necessarily bad for the show. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I think we should move on. Let's go to the next. I mean, I think we can spend ages talking on any one of these, and we've still got quite a lot to do. Filler. Let's go with filler, shall we? Right. Cool. Right. Do you want to read out what the article said?
Sure. Yes. This particular anime trope isn't known by a particular name. We gave it one. It's called filler, meaning it might fly under the radar for some anime fans, but it's still there. Many anime series dedicate an episode to this main character's goofing off all day, with shopping, errands, secret missions, and amusement parks often being involved, or the beach. They forgot the beach episode.
I don't know how, I don't know about you, but to me, this I don't know where this article fucking comes from.
CBR.
I mean, no. Well, okay, fine. Regardless of that, CBR. Have you ever heard of anime?
Apparently not.
The beach / hot springs episode is such commonplace.
I mean, that is technically what makes it a trope, right? They're not saying whether it's good or bad necessarily.
I'm just surprised it didn't come up as part of the article. Beach and hot springs episodes.
Yeah,
because that's literally what. If there's nothing else, if there's no other filler they can do, it's a beach and hot spring episode.
I mean, some of these other ones do exist, yeah, for sure, 100%.
So,
even My Dress Up Darling had a bit of a beach episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of a beach episode. I mean, wasn't it half an episode still?
Half an episode.
Yeah,
and it was adorable.
So I wanna like lead this whole conversation about beach episodes and onsen episodes and things before we look at the broader like filler elements to it. I feel that beach and hot spring episodes can work as long as they are not the same rubber stamped out response, right?
Right.
So this also works for like swimming pools and things like this. So it's like, it's the problem with a lot of beach episodes and hot spring episodes, they're exceptionally formulaic, right? Like, for example, hot spring episodes, there's the
boy peeks through the wall or tries to peek through the wall and gets slapped back.
The mandatory segregation, the mandatory boy or boys trying to peek, mandatory slapback, followed by mandatory table tennis, milk drinking. They're exceptionally formulaic, right? Although it's not the end of the world, more often than not, I'm inclined to just skip the episode because they don't bring something new to the table. There are some shows, on the other hand, that do try to bring something new to the table, and that's fine. For example, I ended up watching the series this last week, what's it called? Classroom with the high school elite, or elite high school classroom. I don't know fucking what's quite, I don't care enough. And they had a swimming pool episode, and the idea was that a group of the boys had collaborated to try and record the girls in the girls' changing room getting changed and things. And the boys had to sort of like subvert the girls from noticing that one of them was missing at any point in time, and it was a lot of this, and like that was something different compared to the constant, it's a hot spring, it's like they're trying to peek through, they're trying to find a gap in the wall, Kazuma's trying to peek, and Megumin casts explosion. It's I think Thaylien wants to argue my point.
I'm not going to argue. I'm just going to ask you a question then. So, what do you say to shows that are entirely set in hot springs, like Love Hina and Yuna?
If that's the setting, that's fine, right? I got
as long as you do something with it.
No, not necessarily, because it could be a slice of life series based in a hot spring, right? But if it's a hot spring episode that's brought into the original premise of the show, then it needs to have some context, some feeling behind it. Who put fucking JoJo in filler?
JoJo's got so much filler.
Fuck off, it does. Anyway.
Like the entire second half of Stardust Crusaders is nothing but filler.
No, it's not. Well, the second half of Stardust Crusaders is just them fighting Dio. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
But I kind of get where you're coming from. But it depends on the setting, the pacing, and things like this. But when, like, for example, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, the beach episode there was nothing massively special, and I love Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, right? But again, it's about like the slice of life element to, and they go out of their way to go to the beach, and they have the whole thing with Luca and her swimsuit, and Kana eating a crab and things. It wasn't anything massively special, right?
But it was
true to itself. Yeah.
It was reacting to a new situation they hadn't been in before. It wasn't just a beach episode to be at the beach. It was a beach episode to give the characters something to work with.
It wasn't 100% formulaic, but it wasn't too far off, right?
Sorry, go ahead.
Apart from Kana eating a crab, Shota having to spread oil on Lukua, the swim race, and I think Kana vaporizing a watermelon. What else could you tell me happened in that episode? That's the problem.
I was distracted by Lukua.
But that's the problem. I mean, a lot of other shit. The fact that JoJo's in this is really
where does his hair start and his hat end?
Right. The fact that there are so many other shows that are more egregious with beach episodes, and that's more of the problem in this. So
I think in
this article listed as well is just what the fuck.
Yeah, I think in some cases some of this filler is used as a chance to. This doesn't necessarily apply to slice of life stuff, but in some stuff it gives the audience a chance to kind of breathe and take a step back, especially if there's been a lot going on. Something that we don't have in our database, but I really should add just on principle, is Nadia, and there is an entire arc of I think it's 6 or 7 or 8 episodes, something like that, where they're just on an island having comedic hijinks. And it goes on a little too long, but it's because you just came off of one really serious arc and you're about to go into the ending arc, which is really, really hard, really, really rough. And so I think those episodes are there to give you a chance to just relax with the characters one more time before things get real.
Right.
I think could also be the case in some other shows, not necessarily beach, like Island or Beach or whatever, but just some of the filler can be just a chance to let the audience sit back and breathe.
You compare that to the other kind of filler. They've gone through the generic, filler episodes. But, some anime go through entire arcs of filler of their own. We all saw Bleach flash up there. Yeah. It's iconic. Not as much as Naruto. Let's be perfectly fair.
Or Dragon Ball Z, or...
Dragon Ball, yeah. Well, Dragon Ball just spaced out everything so much.
Yeah.
There were also some filler arcs in there. I think the fake Namek one was a filler arc.
Yes.
Yeah.
It definitely was.
Bleach suffered it. I feel that the filler arcs for Fairy Tail, I mean, personally, I felt the filler arcs for Fairy Tail were pretty solid. It's, again, not in our database, but still, it felt like things were progressing, and realistically identifying the difference between filler and non-filler in Fairy Tail was actually really difficult. But some filler arcs, they are what detracts from the show too much. To the one that I always bring up is the Bleach Bound arc. Who the fuck put Irina in filler? Fucking hell, Nasuth! You can't be left alone with anything. But the Bound arc in Bleach was the whole reason I stopped watching Bleach. Right? I put up with 60 episodes, well, nearly 60 episodes of that shit, and I just gave up and I started reading the manga instead. And I actually will say there is actually a fairly good point to filler. It keeps the show on the mind of the viewers, right?
Well, currently, with 86, aren't they just doing recap episodes? Would you consider a recap episode to be filler?
No, because it's not part of the it's like the 0.5 episode, right?
Okay.
And I will always give credit to Kill la Kill's recap episode being before the credits, like before the intro credits. Killer Kills recap was just incredible. They just sped right through it and then just got on with it. There is some value to not recap. I'm not going to fill it. There is some value to filler, because the problem is that if it doesn't leave good enough an impact, you're not going to remember what the fuck happened, and you're less inclined to go back to watch the next season. This is a case in point for me with Dota. I really enjoyed I can't remember fuck all from it, and the second season I'm not going to pick up until I remember what the fuck happened in the first season, right? So I have to watch the first season again, and that's not overly appealing. But shows like what had Konosuba, right, or Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, or they are good enough that you will remember the first season. Oh fuck, Mushoku Tensei. That's how.
Yep.
The second season announced. There's no way in hell I'm going to forget the first season anytime soon, right? So, so sometimes filler serves a purpose, but you have to be careful with implementation. You really do.
Mm-hmm.
Filler arcs.
It has to. So in old TV, I don't know if they still use it. There was a term called the bottle episode, which was essentially you make it on a low budget. You just get it out there to fill out the season, and then you spend your budget elsewhere on the stuff you really want to do. And I think to some extent that's what, especially the more bland filler episodes, are there for, is the studio trying to just save money or spend it elsewhere or whatever.
Actually, here's a question for the pair of you. Did you know that Evangelion has 5 filler angels?
Yes, I think I knew that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they were only supposed to be 15 angels.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
They extended it to 18 to make the show have a longer run.
Yep. Yeah. Because 13 is a very significant number. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. And like you could tell which ones are the fucking made up ones.
Yeah.
Really.
They're all made up.
Sorry, you can tell which ones are not in the manga.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, this is fun. Shall we step on to the next one?
Okay then. Shouting out.
Yeah, the next one is shouting out attack names. I kind of want to lead off on this one. I have a good feeling about shouting attack names.
Should we let Nasuth read out the article first?
Absolutely.
Most often, it's shonen anime in particular that indulges in this trope. I mean, yeah, come on. But other genres are known to do it too. If the series doesn't involve actual magic or weapons, then the characters might punch, kick, or club one another and make up a silly name for that, often naming the attacks after themselves. Meanwhile, in shonen, this is pushed to 11. It's a famous cliche that characters simply must shout their attack names for emphasis, even if they sacrifice the element of surprise in so doing. Techniques such as the Rasengan, Kitsuga Tensho, Gun Gum Pistol, and United States of Smash, that's a cool one, all demanded, evidently. I mean, they're not wrong. They're not wrong.
I call this a good trope. I call this a good trope because it has roots right the way back in every culture. And it's any culture that has any kind of fighting in its history has shouting attack names in some form or other. I mean, when they say other series, right, that might have other genres known to do this too. Like, have they actually watched a Sentai show of any kind? Because that's what it's built on. But to elaborate on my point, I'm going back to history. Whenever you're learning to fight, it doesn't matter what you're learning to fight. Somebody has codified it in some way. They have created movements, they've created attacks, blocks, even particular sequences of footsteps to do things. And they go, Bonetti's defense in fencing, right? And some different arts are more prosaic than others. They're more poetic than others. You know, a Western one might have a skull-cleaving blow, right? While other ones might have a rock smash fist or something like that. They're named for what they're supposed to do in theory, or even named for the person that invented them, going right the way back. And the thing that you have to do is that when you're learning them, you have to codify them in your head in that same way. So your instructor may even just yell out the names of the movement he wants you to do, and you follow it, you do it. That's, you know, how you practice. You know, some martial arts are a little bit easier. They'll have a kata of moves that you're supposed to memorize by rote, and then follow them on command, on the beat, on the in the sequence.
I mean, there's even an example of this if you're talking about Western stuff, in Princess Bride, where the man in black and the Spaniard are fighting.
Yes, and while in the movie it kind of loses all common sense, in the actual book of it, it's a lot more accurate to what you'd expect from, say, a fencing match.
Right.
So, you know, so does Agrippa really counteract, Bonetti's defense? So no, it doesn't really. It's all they do just names and moves. But in the book, it's a lot more like he's actually studied a bit of fencing and knows that, you know, a certain way of moving will keep you safe from any kind of flurry of blows from your opponent. So the people that codified these particular movements, these attacks, these blocks, and these stances, they have their techniques named after them.
So I don't know if this article is trying to specifically pick on anime, but there's one part of American culture, very, very large part of American culture, that also has this. Pro wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
like... That's done for more of the show, isn't it?
And that's...
Well, but again, isn't anime just a show?
But yes, but there is something more to this, though. Because every kind of sports, athletics, martial arts, has at some point discovered that an explosive yell improves your performance. Either through syncing up your breathing with the movements, or shocking your body into producing a bit of adrenaline to power your moves. So yelling something like that in combat or in a sport actually does make things better.
I feel, though, that in pro wrestling is a fantastic example of this. They monetize the attack, right? You know, how many times do you play a wrestling game, or hell, any beat 'em up game? Every beat 'em up game, the attacks have names, be it pro wrestling, be it Street Fighter, be it Soul Calibur, any and all, right? Fighting games have names for their attacks, right? Pro wrestling took it one step smarter by realistically monetizing the value of the name, right? You know, how often would you see kids in school playgrounds, you know, doing the people's elbow? I think that's one of the Rock's moves. I honestly can't remember.
Yeah, that's an old, fantastic name for things, because it didn't even start as that, did it?
But they would say that, wouldn't they? The kids would say the name, right?
Yes.
You know,
because I think that's a thing with kids as well. Because when kids want to learn these things, kids want to repeat these things. I think kids know they can't do things perfectly yet. So yelling it out, what they're doing, is the best way to communicate to their friends that they're playing with what they're actually doing as well.
You also have to remember that slogans are easy to remember and stick in your brain.
Yes,
so it's a way for them to also keep the idea of, enjoy this thing that we made in your mind. I think the problem when it comes to anime, though, is that sometimes it's overused.
But here's the big thing, right? So the Rasengan is from Naruto, aimed at kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
The United States of Smash is from My Hero Academia, aimed at kids, right?
Dragon Ball Z, it's aimed at kids.
Aimed at kids, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it feels like they say, meanwhile, in Shonen, this is pushed up to 11, right? Well, this is more Shonen Jump.
So,
right?
Okay, but remember, this article's about overused tropes, not things that are present everywhere, and the most common ones they'll see throughout. And yes, Shonen, it will do it fully. It'll go to the hilt on these things because, as you say, it's targeted for kids.
Yeah.
They're not exactly wrong, are they? When they say it's 10 up to 11.
I mean, look, go all the way back to Transformers, and you've got Autobots roll out. It's the same thing.
Catchphrases go a long way. So I am picking this apart, but it feels like the person that has targeted. So can we scroll down to their suggestions again now? Sorry, the ones that they picked. So Rasengan from Naruto. I don't know what.
That's Bleach, Ketsuga Tensho.
Okay, I don't know what Gum Gum Pistol is.
Isn't that Vegeta?
One Piece.
No,
that's One
right.
Piece. Where he stretches his arm back and shoots his hand like a gun.
Right.
And United States of Smash, right? These four techniques are not shonen, they are shonen jump, right? They're not just, for boys, they are fucking jump techniques. These are stuff they target for boys, little kids. And it feels like again, we just had Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is still another shonen jump, right?
Yeah.
Okay, a brilliant one is Overlord.
Doesn't always necessarily mean it's going to be for kids in the kind of young kids sense, but yet they have to have that audience of, Saturday morning cartoons in our generation.
The point I'm trying to make is it feels like this article, we're already picking it to pieces. They're half-arsing it and only targeting the most popular of shit. The stuff for the kids.
I will actually say Demon Slayer is one of the ones where I feel it gets overused. Like, how many times
still used for kids.
do I have to hear him say... Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but think about it again, back for our generation. How many times did you hear He-Man say he has the power?
Yeah, I didn't really like it then either.
I know. So, yeah, that's the thing. When you say overused, I know it's targeted because, it's not to say overused. It's, it has its complete roots in everything else that came before it.
Okay.
This
is nothing special. Okay. Sorry, I misunderstood. Right. Do we want to move on to the next one, or do we want to...
I don't think I have anything else to really say about that, yeah.
Oh my god, we're an hour in. We've still got a lot more to go.
Oh my god. Okay, we're going to
expedite this.
We're going to speed it up.
Okay.
Teenagers who can save or change the world, which is Teenage Protagonists. This is something anime shares with Western young adult fiction. Clearly, every adult is either too busy, too corrupt, or too dead to save the world, so it falls to a plucky young man or woman to do it instead. These characters are saving planet Earth long before they get their diplomas. Once again, it's usually shonen that does this. Wow, they really do. But all genres involve an adolescent leader who fixes the story's main problem, from defending Earth from monsters to healing a broken relationship, saving an industry from disaster. So we got Ichigo, Luffy, Naruto, Yuji, and Soma Yukihira? I have no idea who that is. No idea who that is.
Isn't that Food Wars?
Oh, it could be.
Yeah. He's saving the world through food. Well, and again, that one's a great example because all of the adults are too corrupt. So yeah.
Who the fuck is Yuji?
No idea.
I'm trying to remember.
I don't recognize that person by name.
Yeah, no, it's the whole thing of, again, your audience is young, but also there's the fact that all teenagers are at that age of actually that massive growth period through their lives
before they've gotten jaded by being old.
Yeah, they're old enough to relate to in a sense, but again, that self-insert kind of thing. They're old enough to relate to, but they're not old enough to be an asshole. Again, nobody is not an asshole in their 20s. Let's be fair.
Yes, that's there are never any 20-year-old assholes ever.
But again, like, best asshole amongst them all, right? But the big thing with the teenagers fitting this, like, it's again, it feels like the article is just not aware of what happens in the West just as much as the East. Like, fuck, you got different TV stations on Sky or cable that are targeted at different fucking age groups.
Well, they did say that this is something that anime shares with Western adult fiction.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. How old
so
is
far,
the,
I think all of these do, but it's me. Well, sorry.
Yeah. How old is the Belgariad, Nasuth?
Oh gosh, I actually don't know what year it came out, but I read it in the 90s, like the early 90s.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh, it's a really good series of books.
Series of books by David Eddings, and it is the classic hero's journey.
Yeah, Belgarian himself is like, I don't know, 20, 16?
Earlier. No, he's 16 in the start of the series.
Yeah, I think by the end he's more like 20 or 25.
Yeah, because they go by classic fantasy thing of it taking months to get places.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting how this person has listed out those 4 characters, and I think the most egregious one of all is actually fucking Kirito from Sword Art Online.
Yeah, corrupt adults or dead adults, and suddenly he's got to solve everything. Like, what? He's not solving anything, really.
Yeah.
Because aside from the fact that there is actually life on the line in the first one, everything else is a fucking game.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, even so, like in later ones, like he is this kid, he is a teenager, he's skipped school and he's working as like a super adult, not just a regular adult, a super adult. Like it's have you seen Sword Art Online Alicization? Right? So for your benefit, let's just get it up on screen real quick. Right. Where are you, stupid show? There you are.
Stupid
show. There we go. So the Sword Art Online Alicization is the whole concept is effectively this company has started making AI, and this is true to form AI where it's constantly evolving and things. But at some point in time, it just stops evolving. All statistics showing its growth has just deadpan stopped. So they hire Kirito, a fucking kid, to go into this AI world and find out what the hell's going on, right? So this AI is gone leaps and bounds, just freaking sped through all sorts of wonderful growth, and there's deadpan stop, and they send this kid. Like, what kind of fictitious bullshit is this? Right? And that's it's again, most egregious characters.
Any sensible kind of situation on that would have said, no, let's actually try an adult who can understand the technology first.
I know, a better one would be, oh fuck, it broke. How long did it take us to run this? I don't know, 24 hours. Okay, turn it off and on again, start again. Right?
Exactly.
You just fucking start again. Well, copy the data.
Okay. Right? It's a certain thing where it's an AI. Is it? Are we allowed to just turn it off and turn it back on again? If it's a true AI, it's alive.
but it has no concept of... Actually, no, to be fair, you have a valid point, right? The existential existence of an artificial intelligence. But at the same time, you are studying it to monitor its growth. Like it's like monitoring animals to study their growth and things like that.
I don't want you to turn animals off and on again. That's a terrible idea.
But at the same time, this is like a dangerous situation. Like they end up having to do it like on an oil rig, like they repurposed an oil rig to do it, because no matter what, this thing cannot get out on the internet, and because it grows so fast and stuff.
Because then it'll get racist, as we've seen in the past.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna go down that route. Anyway, should we put a link to that article in?
Sure. Yeah.
No.
No.
But again,
we've also got examples like Megaton Musashi, where they've got these amazing robots, and they call in the kids who seem suddenly no better than the engineers who built the damn things.
So, like, I will say, having teenage protagonists are fine.
Yeah.
As long as there's a legitimate reason for it. Like, I don't know. Maybe teenagers play video games, and thus because teenagers play video games, they're likely to fall into the trap of being trapped in a video game. That makes sense, right?
In Evangelion, didn't they say that basically their brain, a younger brain was able to sync better than an older brain?
I haven't got a fucking clue.
There's a lot of shows that do that, where the younger brain is more malleable and more adaptable to change. Halo did it. If you want to do that, it's the Halo series. They kidnapped literal children, made them into Spartans, because the younger the child, the more they can actually adapt to the training and the changes.
And there is a root of science to this, right? It does make sense. I mean, heck, there was the big thing about, in the Matrix, Neo rejecting the idea of the real world because, an adult mind can't accept it nearly as easily as a child can. Yeah. Anyway, before we spend too long on this,
it's again back onto that self-insert thing. In a similar sense, it's a relatable but also young enough to appeal to the kids kind of character.
Yeah.
Right. Should we go for the comic relief?
Yeah. Most anime series needs a comic relief character who dispenses nonstop gags and pratfalls. And most anime series? I don't know about that, but okay. And most often this character will be a goofy fellow who lacks a serious character arc because his funny guy role is his entire personality. Some series may go further than that, but not much. These funny guys tend to be energetic, talkative, and whimsical, and they might even be treated as a punching bag at times. They tend to be rather dense or foolish and thus get mocked for it, or they might even be a hardcore gamer who's criticized for putting absolutely everything into video game terms, or he's a downright pervert. I think the one I hate the most that I can think of right off the top of my head is the one from Demon Slayer, whose name I can't remember because I hate him so much.
Oh, Zenitsu.
Yes. Oh my god. I know there are other examples, but he's my I just can't stand him. That show is so good, and he drags it down so hard.
No, I'm arguing this, right? I don't think he is the comic relief. I think he is one half of the comic relief.
I think Inosuke is the other half.
Inosuke, yeah, okay.
Yeah, like, and it doesn't, like, again, Inosuke by himself, I think, would drive everyone insane if it wasn't for the fact that, Zenitsu is the other side of it all.
Yeah, they didn't have to bounce off each other.
But there is I've heard I haven't watched second season yet, but I've heard that there's less development for them than there was in first season, which does kind of put them in that spot of comedy character that's not really developed.
Well, no, I mean, again, I argue against that because, I mean, first off, you have the movie, right, which is the first six episodes of the
train arc,
second season, right? And then they only have from episode 7 to 17, so they've only got 10 episodes
You can do a lot in 10 episodes.
Yeah, I would argue.
But they cram an entire arc in it.
That's true.
So it's like, when the fuck did you think that they're going to get character growth in this? Right?
So
I mean,
I'll go with a character that I think is used for comic relief and is definitely a pervert, but actually, is almost the right kind of use of this trope, which is Jiraiya from Naruto. Now, he's definitely a pervert. There's no two ways about it. He writes adult fiction, and he goes looking for his inspiration through, peeping in hot springs and things like that. And he's even inspired some of his students. For example, Kakashi reads all his books. So, yeah. If you ever wonder what book Kakashi has when he's throwing Naruto about, it's one of Jiraiya's porn books. But they actually and they do treat him like a bit of a comedy character, because he dresses up over the top as the Eero Sage, and he does a great job of getting pratfalls with with ladies discovering him and so on. But his training is real, and when it actually comes down to it, he is an exceptionally powerful ninja that does, it does drive the plot forward in a lot of ways. He's not wasted as a character just because he's a comedy relief and pervy character. So hey, it can be done quite well. But I'll go for an even better one with that, to the idea of doing as well. Not so pervy, but definitely the comedy relief character is Koro-sensei from Assassination Classroom.
Oh, which would you actually have, I think, yeah.
I feel that... I got it.
Okay.
I feel that, this... Actually, this is one of the more important tropes, right? Because I wish I had the foresight to add it in. The classroom of the elite, or something, whatever the bloody thing is called. Everyone in chat's gonna be like, "Oh, this is the name of the show." Honestly, right? There is no comic relief character, right? There is no real diverse range of characters across the board, and as a result, like, it feels bland, right? Which again goes to my whole point of why on earth is Classroom of the Elite getting not only a second but a third season as well. But shows like can't bloody remember.
Your go-to is always No Game No Life. Yeah,
No Game No Life, right? But No Game No Life is not getting a second season, right? No Game No Life is hilarious, right? The antics, the character range. You've got stupid moron characters as much as you have smart, clever characters. Not everyone is. I love it because
the characters are smart and stupid in their own ways. Everybody's smart in a different way. So while our dear Angel may have encyclopedic knowledge and curate books, she's a ditz in general. Whereas our former princess, is generally, uncomprehending, but what her smartness comes out in how she deals with people.
Yeah.
Whereas, a complete contrast to the main characters, who are incredibly intelligent, but socially inept, and and so that brings out comedy, and that the princess is used for the comedy relief itself, and for the fan service, but at the same time, she's actually quite a decent character in her own right. She's given time to shine, for a few limited values of it.
Personally,
so why is that show not getting a second season? Why?
Yeah, personally, I think. I mean, it's kind of too late at this point, but personally, I think comic relief characters are really important. Having that diversity amongst the characters is so important.
Well, it's also something. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on.
It's also something that you've got in Western media. Like, this, again, is not exclusive to anime. Think of how many movies there are that have, the comedy Fall Guy. Or TV shows.
Everybody loves a Joey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally, I was thinking to myself, Joey from Friends, or you've got Ross from Friends, who is like the uncomfortable nerd, right? You've like it's you need that range, and just going like, oh, it's got a comic relief character, or a pervert, or a gamer.
It depends. Like... Yes, it's used. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, in many cases, it's such a good one.
I'd even argue that the main character from Trigun, again, going back to that one, fits this stereotype, and he's the main character.
Main character is the comic relief. But that's just to speed it up. It leads us on to the other kind of character that is overused, but also can be just as necessary in, depending on thing, which is the Tsundere characters.
Okay, let's do it.
We've kind of covered this one before in the past, but, a Tsundere is a character... Of course. Tsundere is a character who starts off as bitter or aloof towards their love interest. They proceed to warm up to said love interest over the course of time, but they regularly alternate between their conflicting feelings. It's a strange mix of stubbornness, passion, denial, and arrogance. Almost guaranteed that any anime an anime fan watches will contain at least one tsundere. They're generally utilized as gateways for humorous dialogue exchanges, though their inner turmoil will affect their decision-making during dangerous or dramatic situations. Some of them do have their kinder side, though.
But that's a whole important part of tsundere.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the break from being the I'm gonna bite you to I love you, wee.
Yeah, and that's
or even just those small human. Sorry,
I think it makes for a great kind of character variation. You got these distinct variation of characters within the same character. They and it's always that balance of when they're in important situations of whether they actually choose the heart or their cringe, basically, and how that goes, how that can tip the direction of all the drama in a story. Just one decision at a time. I really think that works well.
It's like an archetype, right? It's supposed to represent real people who exist like that may be in your life. Not to say that everyone has one of those people in their life, but they are, it's obviously over exaggerated, but there are people like that. There's also people like the comedy Fall Guy, and
yeah,
it's why I pretend to hate Xeno so much on all these shows.
You're the tsundere? Cool.
Yep.
I'm waiting for the romantic part, Thaylien.
That's all right. I love you, really. I've stuck around for 4 episodes now. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't have done
it. But yeah, again, you don't again, there's no real tsundere character in Classroom of the Elite, right? Mm-hmm. And it is just like that you have your bitchy characters, right? But there's no love, right? They're just a bitch.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't fucking, I mean, the number of, oh god, what was there's I can't remember her name from Highschool DxD. It's the lightning angel. I can't fucking remember her name at all. But everyone keeps on calling her a tsundere, and she's not a tsundere in the slightest. Kaneko is she's the fucking tsundere character.
Isn't she a kudere? But she doesn't react at all, and then she's a kudere. A kudere, however you say it.
No, I think she's tsundere because she does beat him up and things.
Tsundere later, definitely, but she spends most of the time emotionless. Whereas our dear priestess of lightning is almost full on.
She's just a masochist.
Yeah, she's full on ready to go with this, and It's a little bit of a sadist as well, because she knows full well the effect she has on her target.
Where's the Tsundere in Death Note?
Did you put one in Death Note?
No, no. I'm asking, where's the Tsundere in Death Note? They said it's in most anime. Where's the Tsundere in Death Note?
If we actually had it in Death Note, maybe Death Note wouldn't have been as terrible as it is. Yeah, shots fired.
Yagami Light is L's Tsundere.
But yeah, it's honestly, I just like.
Again, it depends on how it's used. If it's just used lazily, then it gets boring. But
I think the problem with Tsundere as a trope is the fact that it's always the same, right? It's always the girl that does the punching, the biting, the hitting, and then eventually the loving, right? It's never like, why can't they be sarcastic or sharp-tongued, or it's Tsundere is very formulaic, which I can agree, right? But still, I'd rather have it than not.
Yeah, so here's a question for you. Do you think Tsundere is actually problematic because it gets the idea that a girl can hate you, but with enough time and pressure, she can be tamed into something more loving? You think that's a dangerous way to go?
I mean, part of the problem is that people can take inspiration from literally anything. Look at Higehiro, where the main protagonists, the pair of them, like, he takes her in. He's breaking the law on so many different levels. He takes her in because she needs somewhere to stay, and she doesn't feel comfortable going home. And then in the news, like, weeks later, someone in Japan was arrested for supposedly attempting the same thing, right? You can't. People get inspiration from literally anything. So the idea of trying to tame someone like that already exists, right? I can't remember what it's called.
It's the no means yes trend in the West.
Yeah.
Happened.
What were you gonna say, Nasuth?
I was just going to say, this is, again, another one that exists in Western media. If you watch, especially like a sitcom, although not always, not limited to that, and there are two characters who absolutely hate each other, then eventually they're going to end up together. It just happens.
Yeah, especially
the conflicting person. Yes, it's the conflicting alpha personality kind of thing. Is they will fight until they fuck.
Yeah.
It's one way or the other. They will let that tension out. Still.
Right. Should we go on to the next one?
Thinking of fighting.
Halfway through, just about. Ridiculous power scaling or power creep. It's a rule of thumb that the hero will be the strongest or smartest character in their anime and defeat any antagonist that directly challenges them. They might struggle at first, or they might not make the best choices, but they're the protagonist for a reason. Besides, they'll be fine thanks to the ridiculous power scaling trope. The hero will receive inexplicable power-ups with every top-tier villain they encounter. If the main character is having a rough time, a side character that you completely forgot about will suddenly be strong enough to fend off the overpowered villain that should be way out of their league. When did they ever get so competent? No one knows, but honestly, it doesn't matter. Kinda, sorta, sometimes.
Well, maybe not.
I'm gonna say sometimes it matters.
Okay.
This can be done well, but so often just hasn't been, hasn't it? It's we all have seen the power scaling in Dragon Ball Z. It's just growth upon growth. They even went to the point of explaining away some of it by saying that the main characters, the Saiyans, if you beat them to within an inch of their life, they come back stronger.
Yeah,
it's a Zenkai boost. It's literally the origin of that term in modern usage.
I don't get why the Saiyans aren't on Suicide Watch. Seriously.
So I think somebody else has to beat them up.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's the most bullshit thing. How on earth does your body know?
No. Because I think it's because there are limits in the brain that stop you from actually hurting yourself to that point, right?
Also, they have to expend their ki. Yeah. It's like building up a muscle.
Yes, but
just go weightlifting for like God knows how long, and then fucking put a bullet to your head.
No, but they even did that exact thing in the Frieza arc, where they had one of the characters, they had Krillin blow a hole in Vegeta, and then try to have Dende heal him, but Dende said, "Fuck you! You killed some of my people." And
good times. Good times.
So it was exploited. So when he actually was healed, he came back stronger. But I think it has something to do with the similar to adrenaline. You have to be in a life or death situation for it to actually work.
Like, I mean, one of the shows that I think does really, really well with power creep is Gurren Lagann.
Yes.
Like, it's like, nah, there's no cap. We know there's no cap. And we're going to have fun with no cap. We're just gonna, we're just here to have fun.
We will pierce the heavens.
Yeah, I'm just trying to quickly find it. And
the whole point of the show is that there's, is that the no cap thing is what drove the original starting plot. The reason they started off in the place they did was because people were so afraid that there was no cap that they decided to manually cap it. They decided to put a cap on people, so that they would never do that. It's a strange one.
I think in a lot of cases it's used to try and create tension, right? Because, oh no, the hero is on the ropes, they could possibly die this time, and then, you have that powerful moment where they surge and come back. The problem is if you know it's coming, there's no tension.
Yeah, exactly. So it has to be earned. It has to have something to do to trigger it that's before the fight, some kind of thing.
I think one, again, like, the reason why this tension doesn't exist in the audience is, like, as you've watched enough of these, you tend to learn of plot armor, right? Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that, we got the tropes here we have, this one, but one of the biggest tropes that exists across all cultures is plot armor, right? And, you're not going to die because you're the main character. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
But one of the shows that...
You're going there, aren't you? You're going there right now with Gurren Lagann again.
Yeah,
because like even shows like Gurren Lagann, the plot armor can fail.
Yeah. Summon not a main character. What are you talking about?
Shut up,
you take that back. You take that back right now, boy.
One of the best shows that I think has weak plot armor is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, right? Where main characters will die. Typically, by the end of a JoJo, about 2/3 of the main group have died, right? There's not a single JoJo where all of the main group have come out alive.
Yeah.
There's even a JoJo where the main character didn't come out alive.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because, like, the way that they do this, and I will always applaud JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for this, is the way they avoid power creep is by resetting it, right? They always reset the power so that, they have that journey, that hero's journey to become stronger from what they once were. unlike Dragon Ball Z, where they never replaced Goku, or I mean, maybe they tried with Gohan, but it didn't take off. But they never replaced Goku, and Goku becomes ludicrously strong to the point of it's like, fuck. I remember watching it originally, where getting Super Saiyan 1 was like the most, oh my god, it's like the beezy. Now I remember when Trunks and Goten, was that the second son?
Yes.
Yeah. They have they are able to go into Super Saiyan with utter ease. They didn't really have to sort of work for it, right? And Vegeta loses his shit. He goes like, when did becoming a Super Saiyan turn into a child's plaything?
Yeah.
I always put this back to the fact that the anime the arc was supposed to end at the end of the Frieza arc for Goku. Goku was supposed to die after becoming the Legend to take out Frieza. Their planet was supposed to explode, and they couldn't replace him. They kind of had that thing of, well, okay, we've already brought in this thing that the Namekian Dragon Balls can wish people back after they've died more than once.
Yeah.
So we could just bring him back, Yeah. And so they just wrote that caveat in, and suddenly they couldn't replace Goku ever.
Yeah.
Even if he died. So it's a bit of a problem. But I'll tell you the contrast, though. Yeah, the contrast, though, for me, is actually within Dragon Ball Z itself. There is one case where I think the power upgrade was actually, properly telegraphed and properly earned. And that's in the current Super arc.
Ultra Instinct?
Ultra Instinct, yes.
I was just thinking that too.
They actually go through training. They introduce the concept that the angels have Ultra Instinct and can access it, a certain amount of the time. And it's incredibly difficult to master, the idea of being trained so much that your own instinct completely takes over and prevents you from taking any harm. Because you just react so well with your own fighting instincts.
There's a book series where they do something similar. They call it blindsiding, and it's because you see something and then your brain sees it and then your brain processes it, and so they teach themselves to react before their brain processes it.
Well, yes, exactly. But what I liked about it was that after trying to teach it to Goku, he doesn't quite get it. He doesn't manage it. He manages a tiny brief moment of it, and that's it. And then throughout the arc, he has fights that get stronger and stronger, where he's having to face off against more and more difficult opponents, and his own power isn't helping. And it pops up again. And then again. It's like 3 times he showed the signs of it overall, before in the final fight where it actually mattered, he showed off the full version. And even then he couldn't maintain it for all that long. He had to, work in that time constraint. And it was actually earned. There was telegraphing it, suggestion of it beforehand. And it's the better thing for me was it's actually a power that doesn't need to be a Super Saiyan transformation.
Yeah. It's a side grade.
Anybody could technically have it. And I was a bit disappointed when they actually went with the white hair for it, because he didn't need that. Still, it's it's weird how Dragon Ball Z can have both extremes of this kind of power scaling. But it's.
I saw another one pop up there that was really good. Oh crap! It slipped my mind now. It was literally just up there. Oh well.
I think one show that does power scaling or power creep badly is Bleach, right?
Okay.
Within the first, or technically second arc, within the first season, the whole point of Bankai was supposed to be something that was only achievable by the captains, right?
And their lieutenants that were training to become captain level.
Yes. I don't remember. But so you had your normal, I can't remember what the damn swords were called.
Shikai. You had a normal.
Shikai was.
You had your normal Soul Reaper, your Reaper blade.
Then you had.
Yeah. What is it called again?
Is it Zanpakuto?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
You had your normal Zanpakuto. You could then release it to go Shikai when you actually became familiar with its power.
Yeah. Which pretty much anyone could do after some experience.
Yeah, after enough training, anyone can do it.
And then, you could go Bankai. Now, that's supposed to be captain level. And within one season, our main protagonist not only unlocked Shikai, but also Bankai. And he's been a Shinigami for a couple of months tops?
They did explain that if he didn't do it in that fast, he would have died. The alternative to him mastering and unlocking Bankai was him dying in 3 days.
But that was just a case of plot armor, Mr. Frodo.
Yeah.
But he's not going to die, right?
It also leads on to the next trope that Nasuth helpfully scrolled to. Which is expedited training sequences to maintain the pacing.
Which we have called...
The Rocky Montage!
Even Rocky had a montage. Montage!
Any anime with fight sequences or tournaments will inevitably feature a good old training sequence or two. There's usually a sensei involved that will go on a spiel about how difficult their coaching will be, or how no one is able to
back to Food Wars.
Or no one's able to complete within X amount of time. Naturally, the protagonist is in the midst of a time crunch, so they need to master everything right now. And they always do. Very rarely will the main character train for the proper amount of time to gain certain skills. It's a ubiquitous trope that is represented by characters like Ichigo, Naruto, and even Yuji Itadori.
Itadori! Fucking the main protagonist from bloody... I always know him as Itadori, not fucking Yuji. Fuck. Who calls him Yuji? No one! You fucking even... Oh, fuck. All Might calls him Itadori. Fuck. Sorry. That obviously referencing the character. Who the fuck is Itadori earlier? So, in all honesty, I'm not quite sure if Rising of the Shield Hero should be in here.
There's kind of a montage where he learns how to use his shield.
He learns a lot of his shield stuff off screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily a montage. Anyway, the whole point is, I would honestly much rather have the training montage than not. Right?
I think it depends, but yeah.
Get to the fucking point than, oh yeah, we got 20 episodes of training.
Think of how long Goku spent on the pod training at 100 times gravity.
Not just that. Think about how long you fucking held his hands up in the air just to fucking do a spirit bomb. Like, oh, you want the train? You want 11 episodes of standing still, right?
Just throwing your hands up in the air like you just don't care.
The hyperbolic time chamber was a little bit better because at least we didn't have to sit. They would just check in every now and then.
But like the whole point of the montage is because creators know no one wants to watch this shit.
Yeah.
Right?
No, they want to see increments of improvement over time, but that time has to be crunched. Yeah. It can't be a whole episode. A montage sorts things out by simply showing those little improvements that you would get at the end, at stages of training where you master one part of a trick or one part of an attack, and then the next part you fall on your face. And getting better and better over time repetitive, actually training. It feels earned by the end of a montage.
It just feels to me that like I would so much rather have this than not, right? So one of my favorite shows, which actually got slated quite badly, was Black Cat, right? It's actually a Shonen Jump series.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Only had 20 volumes of manga compared to most Shonen Jumps, and there's one part where effectively they got to have, I think it's like a tournament. It's towards the end. And if it's like, we gotta have a tournament fight and things like this, and you're left. Oh fuck! Do I really have to see a fucking training section? Nope. They just completely skipped the whole fucking thing. Cue 10 days later. Here's the fight. Right? It's like, thank fuck. Right? Every single time I've watched it, I've always felt that.
Even One Piece did that to a degree. They did the 3 days, 2 years, or whatever it was. And everybody came back with a massive power boost at the end of their years of training. They just moved straight on with the story.
Yeah.
So
I think it's important to get a taste of what they're doing, but yeah, you don't have to, just to know that they are doing something. Rather than just getting the power to fly outside of a spaceship because they're the brother of Luke Skywalker. That sort of sister. That sort of thing without knowing that they had training, that feels bad.
I will give you that, but I think that's also down to like the plot narrative just doing a bad job of tell, don't show. I'm like, no, we want show, don't tell. Again, like if you scroll up, they do have a valid point though, with their this can't be completed within X amount of time, right?
Yeah, is that?
Yeah, there is that validity to it.
There have been some clever shows. I'm trying to remember which ones where they do the montage. They say the training can't be completed with X time, but they don't complete it. They just learn enough of the training that they have to go off anyway and try and complete their mission with only the bit they've learned, and then they intuit the rest by practice.
One thing that I thought was kind of ridiculous was at the start of My Hero Academia, where if you've not watched My Hero Academia, this is a spoiler for all of like 2 seconds of the comparative seasons of content. But effectively, our main character, Itadori, does not have a superpower, right? And it turns out that our Superman of the series, All Might, has the ability to pass on his superpower. And he chooses Itadori to be the next Superman, right? I am paraphrasing massively here. But Itadori just can't take the power as is because his body will just basically be torn to shreds. Yeah? So
he is when he's using it later.
Yes. Yeah. So he will die if he takes the power straight away. So he has to train for, I can't remember how many months. He has to build up enough muscle so that when he does take the power, it won't kill him, right? When he tries to use it. And he basically said, like, the Superman, All Might, just turns around and says, like, it's going to be a rigorous training, but Itadori does more than what he should be able to do. Like, he pushes even harder, and like, realistically, he should kill himself with the amount that he's doing. But no, the plot armor has kicked in full force and has, he's still able to do it, right? I kind of wish that these tropes, these montage tropes and things, it would ditch the "it can't be done," right? Just ditch that. Just fucking ditch that, right?
Say it can be done if you go hard enough, that kind of thing, but it's very, very hard.
Yeah. Like, you're going to want to quit, but you've got to keep at it, right?
Exactly.
That works, right? Don't say, if you don't do this in 3 days, you'll die. It's like... You know they're gonna fucking do it.
Specifically in Bleach, yes, you know they're going to do it, but specifically in Bleach, it was brought in to show that this is why nobody else did it. That it's only a stupid man with plot armor that can actually get away with doing it this way.
So
my point is, like, what you could do is say it's really difficult to achieve, and he could not achieve it. Go do the fight in he's fighting some of the captains, and then during the fight he activates Bankai for the first time, right? There is that air of mystery, but if the ultimatum is you do or die, right? Well, they're gonna do
exactly.
But
that wasn't the point of that particular sequence, though, was it? The point of the sequence was, even if you achieve Bankai, even if you get that power, there's no guarantee, because the people you're facing off against not only have that power, they not only have that power, they've also had that power for hundreds of years more than you have, and know how to use it.
Yeah, plot armor.
So yes, you need plot armor to even get onto their level, and then it's a risk.
I mean, it kind of feels like it's pandering to younger minds, going like, oh my god, what if Ichigo doesn't get Bankai in 3 days? He will die. No, he's not gonna fucking die. Come on.
I think so. I think part of it is also to try and demoralize the character and see if they can push past it, because you'll see it in Western stuff, in like military dramas when they cover like basic training. The drill instructor's there saying, "You can never do this. You'll fail. You're gonna get out of. You're gonna wash out." And then they overcome it. Because the ones that do fail, quote unquote deserve to fail. It's the ones who can overcome that obstacle of that demoralization that deserve to succeed. I don't know. That's not always true. I think that's Demon Slayer right here. I think is a good example of that, where his original teacher is like, fuck off.
Yeah. It's like the big thing about Demon Slayer is that it wasn't a do or die. Right? Yeah. The exam was a do or die, right? But the training wasn't.
Yeah.
Training was a do or fuck off.
Yeah. It was like, do
there was a consequence to not having done it, but that consequence was in his head. It was failure, not death.
Yeah.
And so I would like it if that element of the trope was dropped by authors. But,
or at least used more sparingly. Like make it actually matter.
Sure.
But there is absolutely no segue this time going forward. There's absolutely no segue whatsoever, because we're going on to the weak female characters, the damsel in distress.
Go on, give it a read.
Weak anime characters come in all shapes, sizes, and genders, but women are known for getting the short end of the stick more often than not. Some of them are introduced as relatively useless, but they eventually expand on their strengths. Others solely exist to be saved by the protagonist, a damsel in distress, so to speak. Even when a female character is powerful enough to hold her own, she'll always be weaker than whatever major villain is being confronted. Therefore, she maintains a level of vulnerability, whereas a knight in shining armor is necessary to finish the job regardless. Fortunately, characters like Nobara Kugisaki and Mirajane Strauss resist this trend. I don't know who those are.
Yeah, do I?
I would also say that Shinji is way weaker than Asuka. So incredibly weaker.
Oh yes, definitely.
Especially in the new movies. Oh my god.
They have a point about the starting out weak and becoming stronger. Naruto gets a lot of crap for Sakura.
Sakura, yeah.
But at the end of it, she's genuinely one of the most powerful characters out there. But I mean, she's completely outshone by the two main characters. But
she's at least competent and can hold her own.
Compared to her old teacher, who was one of the most powerful characters of her time, she's by far and away more. You know, it's a relative scaling thing. You know, Everest is taller than K2, but you wouldn't want to climb K2 either. It's you know, it's that kind of relative thing. Compare that to I'm going to diverge from anime a little because there isn't an anime of it into games. For example, it's Kingdom Hearts, and
that's basically anime.
The damsel in distress there never stops being the damsel in distress. There's only one time that they actually shine, which is basically at the very end of the third game, and all they're doing is providing support. You know, there's actually a DLC that brings a little bit more fight to them, but again, all that does is put them on an equal footing for long enough to take part. It's not actually making them strong enough to beat the bad guys themselves. There's no point in that in those games where she ever stops being a damsel in distress. So it's the same thing in quite a few anime, where a character never stops being the damsel, and their strength comes from something else, like emotional support or being, able to talk to people.
I had a look. Maria Jane Strauss is from Fairy Tail and Nobura Kugisaki. Yeah. She is from Jujutsu Kaisen, right?
Oh, okay.
First off, Maria Jane Strauss is not a main protagonist of Fairy Tail. She is more of a side character than Nobura Kugisaki, right? Kugisaki.
Yeah. Oh, I remember her. Yes, she's actually one of the strongest originally, but she decides not to use her powers at all.
Yeah.
So she's basically the barmaid.
Effectively, yeah. And it's honestly quite surprising, the fact that there is a whole cast of female characters in Fairy Tail, even Elsa, and I don't give a flying fuck who tries to correct me on her spelling. It's written on her tombstone. It's fucking Elsa, right?
Yep.
Like the number of people that try to say, like, we've targeted this guy. Why not Elsa, right?
Yeah.
Elsa can fucking run rings around people, right?
Elsa, they're the whole, there's, give me 100 monsters on the tournament arc, and it was a 100 monster thing. She the challenge was that there are 100 monsters, each of them ranked like 1, 5, and then one is worth 100.
Yeah.
And so you choose a number of monsters, and you get a random chance for them to be 1s, 5s, 10s, and 100.
Yeah.
And the more people go in front of you and don't get the monster worth 100, the more chance you have of getting it, and so on and so forth. And she just looks at that and just says, "Yeah, I want to take on 100.
I want to take on all the balls. Yeah,
take all of them at once. Therefore, I win the entire thing in one round."
Yeah, no one gets a chance, right?
Yeah.
So
and she did it.
Yeah, I mean, like if you look at like the whole range of characters, like across all the shows, like even Mashoka Tensei, who's on this, like we have Eris, who really to begin with, very much a damsel in distress, but she comes into her own by the end of the first season. Like, she's a fucking kick-ass warrior.
Exactly.
I think
it's that true, but she starts off as a damsel and becomes stronger. But
it's like, she is a damsel
for one episode.
Yeah, for one episode, that's it. And typically she beats the crap out of people, right? Again, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5. We have, oh god, I can't.
The daughter of the boss.
Yeah. Like, I cannot remember her name, but
in part 4, we've got Jotaro's mother. No, 3. Part 3. Jotaro's mother. Yeah.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
Anyway,
she's a damsel that needs to be saved.
Anyway,
Cena's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
nah, it's fine. The whole point is that sorry. To go back to JoJo Part 5, you know, the whole what's her name? I cannot remember her name. The boss's daughter. She ends up, you know, getting her own stand, and she does start to participate in the fights herself, right? Like it's not Princess Peach who will forever be Princess Peach and nothing beyond the princess in another castle, right?
Wow, you apparently never played Paper Mario.
No, but I watch people play it, and she doesn't do anything in Paper Mario. She's just trapped on a moon, right? Yeah, trying to antagonize me there. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's nearly as bad as, you know, it's not as prolific a trope anymore.
Yeah.
You know, as you said earlier, like, why is Rising of the Shield Hero in this?
I don't remember. Maybe Melty. I don't know. I'm sure there are women that he has to save.
Yeah,
definitely not.
They're not main characters.
Yeah.
Not really main characters, no. So I'm not sure why that's in there.
Yeah. I don't know if it necessarily has to be main characters.
Yeah, it still is.
No, I think the whole point is that it's like, you know, female characters are like, you know, I mean, otherwise you got to have weaker male and female characters. But again, the trope is focusing on the female characters, which again they used Nobara as one of she's like seriously one of the main protagonists of the series, and you know that was the example used.
Yeah.
So, you know, and Sakura is like constantly thrown around, but like again, we're talking about a show from 2004. Fuck, that show is nearly 20 years old. Just stop using it as an example. Use anything else. Anyway.
Yeah.
There is a segue moving forward, but I'm not gonna state it.
Oh, okay. You want me to do it? You want me to do it? Oppai!
Yeah. Don't know why you went Mario there.
Oppai! Oppai. Oh wait, sorry. Anime fans might have heard or seen the term Oppai before, perhaps because of merchandise like the hoodie that One Punch Man Saitama often wears. To put it simply, the word refers to breasts, especially large ones. 9 times out of 10, a female anime character will be very well endowed in the chest area. On top of that, she'll probably be wearing an extremely revealing outfit, whether it actually makes sense or not. Cleavage is one thing, but armor or gear that exposes just about every inch of skin doesn't seem too beneficial, yet this trope still persists in anime, video games, manga, etc.
I'm bringing it back. Monmusu, Everyday Life with Monsters. Because that is a show that leans so heavily into this. Either the character has large tits, or they have no tits because of an aesthetic. So it's everything from the wobbling about of Mia and Centauria to the slime girl, who was traditionally not, you know, exactly all that feminine, suddenly sucking up river water and storing it as curves. And then there's that whole arc I mentioned in the manga, which probably will never actually get to air as an anime, that is an entire milk farm run by minotaurs who are the source of the milk.
Yeah,
it's there. You can't get away from it in that show, and it just shows that it is the fascination. It's 100% there. In this, the overall arching thing is boobs are good. Let's be fair with that. Boobs are good.
Okay. Like, I get it. Right. There are many different shows that.
Look at that wobble.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Those boobs are definitely gynaxing right now.
Oh, Jesus Christ. There are shows that really lay heavily into the fan service. We have spoken about said shows. I have put on Highschool DxD. It is very heavy into the fan service. But where it is all right is where I think it's all right is when these shows are targeted for more mature audiences, right? The plot of Highschool DxD is not at any point in time targeted at children, right?
Exactly.
Personally, I see no issue with this when the show is targeted for older, mature audiences. And I will also argue that One Punch Man is targeted at more mature audiences.
Oh, I think that was just a joke. Because, I mean...
that's just how they've heard the phrase. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
No. But, like, again, I the whole point is that they're talking about the fascination with it. It's still target. But I will say there are shows like Bleach, right, where there is fan service and it is a little too targeted at adults, right?
When the show should be targeted at kids.
I don't think that Bleach is doing that too much. There is one or two characters with that, and they're played pure. One is played innocent, the other is played purely for comedy. That's not actually. I'd say that's a bad example of it.
Are we talking about the redhead woman?
Yeah, there's the two redhead ones. There's Ichigo's friend, or Ahime. Yeah. She's one boobalicious character, but she's the innocent one. She's not actually played for... It's never really highlighted. Not played for the but Rangiku is definitely played for... But she's played for the comedy, because she's 100% after using those just to basically tease her captain with. He doesn't react to her at all. And she just, has large breasts, and it's very rarely, besides the filler episodes, actually too highlighted, too in your face.
I can't really speak on behalf of that, right? But again, you've got why are these the shows I cannot remember. You've got in My Hero Academia, you've got that one hero who is into BDSM, like the whole BDSM thing, right? I cannot remember, like, her quirk is her pheromones, right?
Yes.
And it's just like, the sexual lust and things.
Exactly.
I honestly,
that's a little bit too much, especially in a show targeted towards kids. You're quite right. I'll go with that one. Okay,
cool. So, it does feel like, again, there are varying different degrees of this. And again, it's all about proper responsibility towards it. It's like, is it when kids are exposed to this, or when anyone's exposed to this, it is always important to realistically talk about it. I mean, it's weird how this article talks about breasts specifically and not just flat out fan
service. Yeah,
right. I think that's because
there does tend to be a larger fixation on, you can get away with showing breasts more often, and even when there's not fan service, like they're not wearing revealing clothing, you still end up with a lot of characters that just have big boobs for some reason.
Yes, come on, that's one of the things that you can that they get away with way too much. There's even that very old meme, I've got this new plot for an anime. Okay, as a transfer student comes to school and she's got huge boobs. I'm talking massive badonkas. I'm talking absolute hongamonga longa gongas. Okay. What happens next? Another transfer student comes in with even bigger boobs. That kind of thing.
Or Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Yes. The whole point is, I think the trope that he's talking about is the fixation on larger breasts, because you can get away with it.
This article certainly is, but my
whole
point is...
It's a trope on its own, yes. But there is a fascination with drawing women that have much larger assets than they should have in reality.
But it's a cartoon.
I mean,
Cartoons are exaggerated. You see guys that are, built that way, way more than any guy in real life could ever be.
100%.
That's true.
JoJo.
Yep.
Let's go back to One Piece as well with the characters in that. As they're teenagers when they start out, and after 2 years, suddenly, they're a bit extreme.
Yeah.
Nobody in the world is built like Frankie. Let's be perfectly honest. And when I say built, I mean literally. He's actually built. Still, even Usopp is, the weak character has a whole thing where he's actually improved to the point of actually having abs. Like, well, okay then.
I do understand that maybe it's a simple case of like the illustrators. They don't want to do generic, boring people. They want to do more surreal stuff where
something
I can totally
stands
see
out.
that for. Yeah, well, it's not just that, but you're not drawing, like you'd rather draw surreal than you would, something that's real life. Yeah.
And it depends on the what you're doing it for, but yeah.
You've got to admit that even it doesn't actually just relate to just anime. There is a almost universal thing in humanity as a whole, that big, small, uneven shape, any kind you like, boobs are just good. It doesn't matter your orientation or your thing. Boobs, they're just generally
boobs are just kind of
on
awesome.
The scale of good. They're just there's not really. The only negative is for people that have to put up with them, personally, and the downsides of them appear. But
I think one of the important things is to realize that in any form of media, sex sells, right?
Yeah.
And no matter what, you have to have a baseline amount of sex appeal, right? No matter what you do, because Big Bang Theory, where's the fat character?
Yeah.
Right? Most nerds, actually pretty much any show, where's the fat character? I don't care about representation. I have no interest in representation. Hell, I watch fucking anime. There's a key performance indicator for no representation of fat people. But my whole point is that if you're trying to make this more grounded in real life,
you would want fat people and small boobs and Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so sex sells. I mean, even the people from what's the Big Bang Theory, the supposed nerds and geeks are they're a little too pretty,
remarkably attractive for their status.
Yeah.
That's all in the Western movies. The ones, all of the things where the nerdy girl takes off her glasses and lets down her hair, and suddenly she's the best-looking girl at the prom.
Yeah. And so, I mean, the fact of the matter is sex sells. And
it does. So are we in any way surprised that this trope exists?
No.
Exactly. It is popular for a reason, and it will never stop being popular.
I should be surprised at people that think it's a problem, but I'm not anymore.
I do think it's a problem, but I think it's a problem for other reasons. I think it's a case of realistically, it's the parents' responsibility to talk about this stuff to their kids, right? Or even schools, right? More the parents than schools, but still.
There's a segue.
Let's jump to the next one.
I wanted to call this one the Disney Princess trope, but
it's a stupid name.
it's dead parents.
Not Disney Princess trope. It's a Disney effect. Seriously, every single Disney movie from a certain point.
Yeah,
dead parents.
It's dead, non-existent, or absent parents. Comic books are a steady source of parent-lost protagonists, and any fan would have a hard time naming more than 5 comic superheroes whose mother and father are still around. Nonetheless, anime has proven just as adept at making sure their young main characters thrive and explore the world without a single parental figure to answer to. To add insult to injury, most anime parents aren't even dead, they're just utterly absent from the lives of their children. For example, Hunter x Hunter, literally exists because Jing Jing Fricks? No idea. Left poor gone behind. Meanwhile, Izuku has never met his absent father, and Ichigo Kurosaki lost his mother when he was young.
And we don't even know the status of Kimihito Kuroso's parents.
I mean, sorry, I wanna. Oh, right, okay. First off,
I think Xeno has opinions.
I have opinions.
Ooh.
Right? Why is kill? Oh no, love a kill is actually yeah. So the whole point that they're trying to make here is the number of comic book characters from the West that have lost their parents, but it is a grounding point. It commonly comes back nearly constantly, all the fucking time. How often do we have to have a Batman movie, or not even a Batman movie, where we have to make reference to the fact that fucking Batman's parents died? Right? Oh no, not Uncle Ben. Oh, with great power comes great repetitiveness. And like it's like I think the seriously the best one is fucking Superman, because like his entire fucking planet exploded.
Well, right? And then in the
everything except his sister and his dog.
And then in the Man of Steel movie, he also lost his Earth dad.
Yeah.
Yes.
But my whole point is that these are grounding points for these characters that shape them into who they are, and they always fucking come up, right? Whereas there are plenty of stuff in anime where you've had a tragic loss and it doesn't constantly come the fuck up. Right? The Goblin Slayer is a brilliant example of this, right? He lost his whole family, right? It is made reference to maybe twice, and that's it. He's got his motivation. He doesn't need to have it every episode.
And it only comes back in moments of stress where it directly flashes back to a situation he was in, like being trapped underneath somebody who's about to be killed, that kind of thing. It's surprising how little that his actual backstory comes back to haunt him.
Yeah.
In his day-to-day life, whereas others, the dead parents trope is everything.
I can't speak for the entirety of Bleach with Ichigo's mum being gone, right?
Anytime his dad is in the scene, if his father is in the scene, his mother will be brought up.
Yeah, it's like, so that's at the very start of the series, like within the first 2-3 episodes, and then I remember it coming up again about 100+ episodes in, right? Yeah. It's like, oh no, it keeps coming up. My fucking ass, it does, right?
It was an example where it keeps coming up, though. Yes, Mommy's dead and Daddy doesn't love me.
Which still doesn't make fucking sense. But the next point with Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer keeps coming up. Comes up way too often.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's like this
Although
isn't.
Wouldn't you say that's more in reference to having to deal with the trauma with both him and Nezuko, and having to explain the trauma that happened to them?
Yeah, it's more about introducing it to other characters.
It's his motivation, and he has to make sure that people that know him know that motivation.
No, it's like, for example, the whole I kind of want to put spoilers on. Nasuth, put spoilers on.
Oh no.
Yay!
I'm not ready.
I'm not ready.
It's just in case anyone wants to talk about. Hold on, I'm gonna also just slap on Demon Slayer. It's just in case anyone does want to watch Demon Slayer that hasn't actually
which they should.
done so. Yeah, but the whole point is that in the dream sequence on the Mugen train, it's about his parents, right? It's about even the fact that he's realizing it's not it's a dream. It's still his dad that tells him, right? How much about his dad comes up, like the fact that, oh yeah, your dad was not a fire wielder. His parents comes like, oh no, you need to do, like, you have his mum coming up so like spiritually talking to Nezuko to calm down and start singing to him and things like this. It's like it comes up hell of a lot.
I think that's part of the mysticism, though, right? The whole spiritual aspect.
I suppose, but
that,
still,
yes.
like again, if you want a comparison, like look at Gurren Lagann, right?
Yeah.
Should we turn off the spoilers?
Yeah.
Like, you know, looking at Gurren Lagann, where, you know, the kids, they're all fucking orphans, right?
Yep.
When does the fact that they're orphans ever fucking come up beyond the first episode? Right?
There's that one where they go. There's that one where they go to the other underground area. I think it comes up there too.
But there's the one time that it actually comes up with any meaning is when the prospect of becoming parents comes into it.
I suppose, right?
Yeah, that's it.
But again, you know, it's like it's not fucking prolifically everywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the concept is there. It's the you say this on the other shows. In the Western ones, it comes up constantly again and again, but it is the grounding force.
Yeah.
Batman, we always go through that because it hammers home how Batman has this grasp on tragedy that is his driving power. He's always this prepared, always this driven, always this, you know, this character, because the tragedy is what he's holding. He's literally powering himself with that tragedy. So of course it will come up every single time. Whereas in some cases, the anime ones, there's no reason for the parents to be gone or dead. They're just, you know,
it's just how life is.
It's just an excuse.
In some ways, it's an easy way to create cheap drama.
Yes, it's cheap drama, but at the same time, it's also an easy excuse to allow these characters to go off and do things for so long as they are without responsibility.
I mean, again, like, fucking Ash Ketchum's mum. But
well, no, we know why she got. I mean, you know why Ash went on his journey. Because
Professor Oak.
Professor Oak.
And
or Mr. Mime.
But the big thing is, no. Right. But the big thing was, when the fuck does dead parents come up in Gundam Wing?
They're all orphans.
They're all orphans.
Yeah, when does it ever come up?
Also, I think, what's her name? The girl, her parents die at some point.
Tragically, and it's brought up a lot.
Yeah.
In the political thing.
I don't remember.
You know, because she doesn't.
Fine,
you blanked it out. You blanked it out. It's fine.
I'll fucking trust you. It's been a long time. Anyway, right. So, but again, like things like, so with Batman, with Spider-Man, with any character where the driving force is the death of a relative, that driving force is constantly repeated. Not as other characters dying, but the fact that that original character died, right? What happened? I mean, I would have loved to have seen a third Amazing Spider-Man movie with Andrew Garfield after the death of Gwen Stacy, right?
The beautiful corpse of the Spider-Man universe.
You know, and she, you know, what with there's recently there was a scene that was a deleted scene that was leaked where apparently Peter was supposed to confront his father at Gwen Stacy's grave, right? So it's just like, it's really interesting, but very rarely does the death of a parent have a reoccurring impact on an anime character. Hell, even Shinji's mum's death. Like, the only character that is obsessed with her death is fucking Gendo.
Yes. But that's kind of the point they're making here. I think they've hit the actual nail on the head. It doesn't come up, but the dead parents trope is everywhere. There throughout. It's so often. It's purely used in many cases as that excuse to have them just be able to gallivant off on adventures, you know, like
Luke Skywalker when his aunt and uncle died.
How often did he think of them again?
Yeah. So okay, fine.
And
but
in
again,
that movie, we actually saw the burnt bodies. It wasn't even like it wasn't even off screen. We actually saw them.
But again, I think shows like Evangelion talk about like the whole, it's very concerned about the whole we're all about to die situation, right? But
Shinji's just obsessed with the fact that his dad didn't live with him for a while.
No. My point is that the whole show is focused around the death, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But with, again, shows like Bleach, it's in a completely different tone, right?
Right.
With shows like Demon Slayer, it's a different tone. With shows like, Goblin Slayer, completely different tone, right?
Yeah.
But typically with Western stuff, the tone is the same, right?
Yeah, you're right.
That's the point I've failed to thus far.
It's tragedy that defines the person, not their ability to overcome the hard times, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still, yeah.
Which
it does in fact segue on to the next one, because remembering those you've lost in a lot of the Western ones gives you that emotional context for any big moments that come up.
Yes, the emotional flashback. Time and time again, anime has put us on the brink of something massive and then pulled us back for a mood-changing reflection. It could be a big reveal, a highly anticipated battle, the introduction of a new character, you name it. It's incredibly likely that a pause will occur beforehand for the sake of an emotional flashback. These aren't always pointless, and they tend to cover a character's backstory or the decisions that led them to their current state. They'll occasionally draw tears from viewers and make their subject more relatable, which adds to the personality of the series as a whole. Van Hohenheim sure had an interesting flashback, for example. Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he did.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to think to myself, is that really such a bad thing? I mean,
no.
if the characters always get the flashback, if the characters always have the flashback, then
I'm actually against this. I mean, it's a trope for a good reason. It is solid as a thing, but I think it fails the show don't tell rule, because yes, they're showing, but they're not showing it in an organic fashion. It's literally breaking you out of whatever situation you're in and just like shoving in your face, like, yes, this is the emotion you should be feeling. This is the context. You should know the context from having watched the show, but we're going to show it back to you anyway. And I feel that in many cases it's just used the wrong way.
I think it can be used well, but it can also be used sloppily. I'm trying to think of a really good example of where it's been used sloppily.
There's a fair few dozen, but it's usually in specifically when you're about to do something dangerous.
Yeah.
Like it's really overused in the old anime, like Inuyasha and Yu Yu Hakusho. Berserk is a good one, actually, because they have fairly unforgettable tragedy moments that they can look back to, or emotional moments they can look back to, and they do every time. But it's like, yes, we remember that scene. You've showed it to us 5 times now.
Oh, I know a really good one. Nighthead 2041. Literally, like every episode or two, it keeps flashing back to this one scene, this one tragic scene, and it's just like, oh my god, do I really need to see this again?
Exactly. See, flashbacks can be used accurately or well in quite a lot of situations, but I prefer flashbacks to be used to illustrate a character actually realizing something, actually linking the dots, not just for tear-jerking or for
not
emotional
just for power-up
emphasis. So, hey, let's go to a good example of this, which is My Dress-Up Darling, where you quite clearly see a little flashback where he says, "You were beautiful," and you see the flashback of what context he puts on beautiful but it's shown because that's the scene playing out in Marin's mind. It's the key to this realization, this little sudden realization he has about what he just said. And it's completely believable because that's what we thought of the moment he said it as well. Our brains did the flashback at the same time as her brain did. And there was no... if they'd showed that flashback before he'd said it, it would have completely lost all meaning. You know, we would have known what he was about to say ahead of time.
Right.
So, if you don't use it to help show the audience the character realizing things instead of, you know, just the character feeling sad because they remembered something from their past, you know, in the downtime before something happened, it's trite.
I mean, there is some value in saying that flashbacks are... They're not executed well in most cases. Flashbacks are often... they feel ill-timed, not well-placed, and things like this. People don't actively, you know, just have a flashback in their life after or before, you know, a traumatic event and things. Typically,
let me think in excruciating detail about the time one of my pets died tragically.
You know, and again, it feels a bit off. One show, even though people like say it's trash TV, one show that I always liked for its recaps was actually Supernatural, because you never had a flashback of, I remember this character from 6 years ago in this episode. Like, it just recapped the episode briefly so you recognized who the character was, and then you actually had a good firm point from the show's perspective of knowing what you're referring to. And
you mean like, hey, remember this character exists? Yeah, now you remember. Let's go on with the episode.
Yeah. And like, it feels very much a Western thing that is never truly adopted in things like anime, and I'm wondering kind of why. I'm thinking it's potentially it doesn't...
Adverts.
Adverts?
Yeah. American advertising is very, very aggressive, and to maintain audience attention over the course of things, they've gotten really, really aggressive with on the next episode, previously on, just before the advert break, this happened. It's on all of the daytime TV that you'll get.
Something like Lost even does that, and if they bring a character back, you know, a season later, they do the thing Zeno said, where they flash back, they like previously on Lost, and they show a little bit of what the characters were doing.
So, because of these breaks, because of this desire to keep audience retention, they'll do that a lot in the Western shows. Whereas in the Japanese shows, in the anime, people think that the recaps just get in the way. They'll skip them if they can, or they'll, you know, so they don't want spoilers, so they'll skip the next time on section, and in that, anime has actually evolved to go a lot more subtle. So they'll just say, next time, the episode is called this, you know? And maybe show one more thing. Crikey, we had a momentary intrusion, which shall remain nameless.
Yes.
So it's because they don't, you know, I would put that down to the same thing that we have over here in the UK, which is a distinct lack of super aggressive advert breaks. We'll have 2 parts to an episode, split in the middle by an advert break, where, you know, and adverts before and after. We won't actually have so many interruptions, so we don't have that specific need to get audience retention. We're not constantly breaking up the shows.
I think part of it may also have to do with
we don't even have adverts.
I think part of it may also just have to do with narrative flow, right? Because a lot of times anime drops you into a spot where they can't really cover, you know, they can't say, oh, I knew this character 2 years ago, because it doesn't start at that point. And so when they want to finally introduce it to you, it has to be through, and the flashback is kind of the easiest way to do it. It can be like, it's just a lazy way to say, okay, this is where I met this person, this is our history, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it doesn't have to always be that way, but a lot of times it is.
As I say, it's overused for a reason. It's present in everything for a reason. I just think that reason is fairly shit.
I actually, thinking about this, there's something I didn't take value of, which maybe you guys did. There's two types of flashbacks. There's the ones that are showing something that we've seen a billion times before, or have even witnessed during the course of the series. And then there are ones that are flashbacks that we have no fucking, we'd never had any of this information before.
Expositionary things.
Trigun was up there a minute ago, and I keep going back to Trigun because it's one of my favorites. The whole bit where we learn about his past on, the ship before they got to this planet. There's no way they could have really shown that and kept it as a surprise for the point that they needed to show it to you.
Yeah, same with Hohenheim in Full Metal Alchemist. But we have seen again flashback time and time again with Demon Slayer was like, well, we've already seen this.
Yeah.
He's picked that out on the actual article as Hohenheim having that as an interesting one, because I think that falls into the one I was talking about earlier. It's showing the character thinking about exactly what they want to, what is going through their mind, rather than just a weird sense of thing. It is exposition in the position it's needed, and it's only needed there because showing it anywhere else would have been way too much.
It would have been a spoiler.
For the actual spoiler. Yeah. So it was needed to actually give context to the situation.
Other times, the ones that Xeno's describing,
acceptable.
The ones Xeno's describing are just a way to save on the budget again, I think. Like, we can just use this footage we already have.
Put a grayscale filter over it.
Yeah.
I do feel, put some letterboxing on it. I do feel though that with some shows, it's all about the pacing, right? So one show I got so upset for, which we actually praised, we praised this show quite a lot, is My Dress Up Darling. Last week's episode, it did kind of like a flashback situation, and it was all new content and everything, but it ruined the pacing. It was the worst fucking time. Like it just like it blue balled me, right? Massively so, right? Because it was trying to, no, not literally, shut it, right? It was trying to
horrible person.
Speaking of characters with overly large breasts.
Oh my god. It was trying to explain, you haven't even watched it, shut up you. Right? It was trying to explain the motivations of a character doing a thing, but it just suddenly appeared out of the blue. We had no preparation for it whatsoever, and then it went into an immediate flashback, and then it was just like, no. You
can't interrupt it right there. No, what are you doing? Yeah. No, I'm with you 100% on that one.
I feel that this is what they're trying to say with the Van Hohenheim thing, but I honestly don't remember it being nearly that egregious. I felt that the way that they did the flashback for Van Hohenheim was properly well paced, right? It was properly segmented in. I mean, like, I will never accept in a million years, this is maybe this is what happened in fucking FMA, and I just don't remember it. I will never accept, big climactic event coming to the end of an episode, like, cliffhanger, and then the next episode being a flashback episode. I will fucking lose my shit over that. Right? Which has happened in some shows. I honestly can't remember them. But yeah, it's you get the idea.
I'm getting good at these segues though, because expositionary flashbacks does lead us straight on to the next point with monologues for exposition.
Okay, give me.
Because this is pacing. This is everything again.
Hold the.
So, monologuing. Anime plots usually get a little convoluted, especially when unique powers and skills are brought into the equation. Most of the top-tier popular series have a long list of user-specific abilities that fans will need to remember. How does one keep up with all these superpowers and the multiple storylines? Monologues, of course. Monorails. Whether they be internal or external, anime monologues are a necessary but sometimes annoying trope. They are utilized to clarify certain actions or plot points, but they can also be a bit intensive if done at an inappropriate moment. I'm sure we can all think of examples of that.
This comes back to exactly what Xena was talking about with pacing of flashbacks. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter whether the monologue can be useful or not, but if the pacing is wrong, just a terrible fucking trope.
Yeah, it just throws you out of it.
Yeah.
But he's not quite right. There is one other way that you can keep track of powers and skills.
Spreadsheet?
And that is to sing about the family madrigal.
Ah, of course.
Duh.
Watch Disney movies,
No.
Do it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Get it.
I genuinely don't know what you're talking about.
Encanto, the very beginning, the first
opening
musical of that is she sings about all their powers and who they are.
What's Encanto?
CGI Disney movie.
Okay, never heard of it.
Watch it, it's good.
We still haven't heard of it.
Yeah, watch it, it's good.
Fine. Right. So I feel there is something horrifically overlooked with this comment about monologuing. And I'm going to find the series that does this the most egregiously, which is How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom.
Oh, that show again.
Right. Well, have I slammed this too much?
Yes. Give me V for Vendetta anytime.
Right. The problem with this show is the overly long, pointless holding shots that are just there for reason. And it feels bad, man. It feels like, and this is one of the reasons why we have monologues, right? It is to stretch out the animation. It is to hold the shots for longer, to hold on the budget. Like, okay, I'm gonna give you the best show. I'm gonna let Thaylien guess it first for monologues.
But I'm not gonna guess because I've got several. I've got my monologue things are not related to best or worst.
Okay. You don't want to guess?
Nope, not this time. Okay.
When you say best, do you mean a show that uses them a lot or a show that uses them well?
Both.
Ah, I see. Yes.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Of course.
Right? There it is.
It has like each shot, each angle, each frame has so much effing detail in it. Look at that freaking matchstick cage. By matchstick cage or wheel, whatever. It's so much detail in it. They get around such detail by having such long still shots, and they have lots of monologues. They have lots of.
I remember Polnareff a lot doing internal monologues, like a lot.
Yeah, Jotaro does loads of internal monologues, right? Jolene does internal monologues. It's all the characters. They hold the shot for as long as they can, and they try to not do anything in that shot for as long as they physically can. All the special effects coming off of Jolene and her stand, I can't remember the name of. Stone Ocean, duh. Anyway, those are all CG effects. Shut up. They're all CG effects, right? So
added after to hold the scene.
Yeah, it's just
It's about pacing, like you said before. It's about pacing and how it interrupts or how it complements the show. And I find there's only one time I really accept expositionary monologues, and when it's genuinely expositionary, and that is when we've got a villain doing it on purpose, so that he can delay a hero, right? Where he explains all his plot, and then it doesn't matter because no, it actually happened 5 minutes ago, and you're too late. Ha ha! That's a great use of exposition monologue because it adds to the drama of finding out that you've now got to do something about it.
I have one more, right? A great example of use of monologue, and that's Steins Gate, right? The great thing about Steins Gate is very much the discovery of what's going on, right? They are trying to work out what's happening. They are trying to work their way through. And in all honesty, it's not really something that the audience can be fully aware of the motivations of the main characters. Exposition is needed and used well in this to best direct the audience as to what's going on, to direct their attention to things. And otherwise, people would be fucking confused to shit as what the fuck is going on in this show. Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And it's the kind of thing that you would usually say devote a page of like the end of a manga to, so that you read all the situation, then you read the context behind it. The way Attack on Titan has a dedicated page in one of the issues devoted to yeast and how it affects things and how it reacts with things, especially with heat. And you realise that, oh yeah, Titan grow large because yeast.
Gunbuster does the same thing with Space Time.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
It's down to like properly explain the whole shit. What was the name of the effect? I can't remember.
Time dilation?
So I can't remember. Like the whole point is the faster something goes, the
slower the time goes perceived by them. Yeah. It's that was a Ender's Game thing as well, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Yep.
I think so.
Yeah, the in the book, not the movie.
Yeah. So again, it's monologuing can be used very well, but at the same time, as case in point of how a realist hero rebuilt a kingdom, it can be, used to just fucking lengthen the shit out of stuff, right? Faraway Paladin. Falling asleep here. Can we fucking get on to the point?
Well, it is late for us here.
Yeah, it's true. Right.
On that note, shall we move on?
Yeah. Lonely Girl.
Yes. Some female anime characters aren't just compassionate or friendly, they're downright obsessed with romance and finding love, and sometimes that's the one thing these characters are known for. These anime girls are determined to ship anyone and everyone, and they might be rather vocal about it too. These girls are the type to think, gasp, could they be in love? If two other characters simply share a glance. And they might actually do something about it too. Narumi Momose is like that in Watakoi, for example, and My Hero Academia's Mina Ashido sees romance everywhere she goes. Even Kaguya Shinomiya is part of the We Love Romance Club, as is Ayame Himuro.
I fairly like that name, Wotakoi.
Isn't the last one Love is War?
Maybe?
I swear, I've not actually watched it. I've heard it's really good. So I need to Kaguya Yep.
While you're looking that up, another one that I can think of is
fucking Love is War.
The show is about that. So
the fucking show's about it. Fuck off.
Oh. Yeah, no.
It's a fucking
Yeah, I like the name Wotakoi because that takes on the female wotaku, and koi, of course, being the romance thing. That's that's a good name for a show. I like that. I haven't seen it, but it just makes me think, oh yeah.
Hold on. Let me read this out to you guys. Love is War is a Japanese romantic comedy manga series. Do I need to read any more than that?
Okay, but is there one character in particular that's like super obsessed with?
Dude, of course there fucking is.
Well, then there you go.
Are all the other characters not as obsessed?
Yeah.
It's. I don't think that's beyond the point.
This is a sort of a thing from the self-insert thing again, going right back to the beginning, because this is the character that fans are in real life. Fans are, oh my god, they brushed hands. They're going to be in a relationship. We must ship them together.
Yeah.
You know,
See,
oh my god.
You can't say that about Kami Can't Communicate, because everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people are obsessed with relationships in that one.
So again, the next one is Mina Ashido. I don't remember her being obsessed with romance. She's the pink girl that has like the acid slime.
Yes.
I don't remember her being.
I think she's got an excuse though. I think it's because her acid slime is her quirk, and she can't get rid of it. She's not really able to be as friendly with everybody as she wants to be. So she's a little bit obsessed with seeing romance in others, but that's just, you know, kind of a bit of a game theory. Wait, no, an anime theory, and so I'm with Xeno on this one. I don't see her really being obsessed with it. She's just more into it than the other characters. That's all.
I mean, the fact that this Wikipedia is all pink.
Yes.
Okay, so
you're gonna struggle.
Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku, is a Japanese web manga series written and illustrated. It doesn't specify with a name like that though. It doesn't. I would have thought again. Oh yeah, sorry. Genre: romantic comedy.
Yes, but again, the trope isn't about the romance. It's about having one character that's obsessed with it compared to all the others who would just think normally.
But again, it's sort of a character that I would expect to see in that short sort of...
Sure,
I've no idea why this trope is so high on his list, whoever's making this list. Because, yes, it's a trope, but it's not overdone. There's in romance comedy, yes, there are these characters. To some degree or other.
To see them there.
Yeah, that's exactly where you'd expect to see them, and they are the way of getting ahead of the curve and making sure that somebody in the show is noticing the things that the fans are noticing.
I mean, it's like how in most sitcoms you have a Joey character.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Again, it goes back to the whole archetype thing.
I mean, it suits it. It's like
it fits.
Fuck.
It's like, a trope, but I think this is just ridiculous to say it's an overused one. It's just the logical one to use in
fact, I would say it's only really used... I mean, it is used in some of the things we've seen scrolling back in the background. It is used in other stuff, too, but not very much compared to that one section of... that one genre of anime. So I wouldn't say it's overused.
I mean, like, if we scroll back up a second, because I want to make sure that... Right... The one girl who obsesses over romance.
Yes.
Right? So
that is her defining trait.
Right? The one girl who is obsessed over romance.
Either her own or others.
Okay. Gosh.
So
Staying Alive, I could totally get that. But again, it's a harem show.
Okay, what about what's the name of it? Irina, vampire cosmonaut. There's that one pink-haired nurse girl who's really obsessed with Irina and the Lev.
And getting her a date with, what's his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I could give you that, but still, that's a very...
That's also still kind of a romantic comedy as well.
There's also those other shows that are technically not anything to do with that, but say have a main character who has a living mother, and their mum is that thing of, oh my god, you brought home a female friend. Right. That must mean I'm going to be a grandmother.
I mean, like, what shows are you thinking of?
That's like that happens in slice of life stuff.
It's a lot of slice of life things.
Okay.
They're not always romantic comedies. They're often just comedies, and that trope is played for the comedy. So,
but again, it's like saying, oh, you know, that one girl in My Dress Up Darling that's so obsessed with love.
Did you know that in tournament shows people punch each other?
Yeah,
that's an overused trope, man. I can't believe.
Yeah. The tournament arc, an overused trope. No, it's not. It's part of fighting anime. Stop it. You're quite right. I don't know why this is so hard.
Fooly Cooly, right, I think is a good example. Is that, you know, the older girl who is obsessed with, oh god, is it Takun? I can't remember what his name is. The main protagonist's older brother who moved to America, right? That is an example, right? Not a romantic anime, right? Not even a comedy, but no, it's just kind of fucked up. Really fucked up. Data Life is a harem series, right? So I could totally see one girl that's like fawning over romance totally makes sense in that setting. It is a romantic, no, it's a harem comedy, right? It works. But show me the girl that's completely obsessed with romance in Goblin Slayer, in Demon Slayer, in Evangelion, right? You know, Overlord works because fucking
Albedo.
Yeah, Albedo, right? And Shaltier, right? Because I don't know, it's like fucking the series is weird as shit anyway.
Well, they made a joke of that one where he actually changed the settings of the character in the first place before it became a real person.
Yep.
I think originally, like it was written that Albedo did not like
anybody.
Lamont.
She was
for that one guy only.
Yeah, exactly. And so she hated everybody else. And he changed a little, just a little. Bit of detail.
I'm sorry. Like, you've got to give me better examples than the fucking romantic comedy shows.
Yeah,
right?
No, I'm with you on that one.
We came up with better examples.
Right. Okay.
So let's just move on to the I think it's the final one.
Right.
Actually, there is a girl in Goblin Slayer that's obsessed with romance.
You fucking dare say the receptionist?
The childhood friend. Or sorry, the girl that lives on the farm.
The farm girl. Yeah.
No, romance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really?
The girl literally
with
introduced.
Him being safe.
Yeah. But also, she asked a lot about whether it's whether he's going to be dating any of the girls that he's found.
Mm-hmm. Yep. She fits it. She fits it.
Obsessed? No.
Okay. Yeah. No. Okay. Obsession is.
It's not her only defining trait.
Yeah. She's also great at pulling carriages. So I'm actually referencing the abridged series, which is brilliant. But anyway, right. Should we move on to the
final one?
If anyone can think of a series that is not a romantic comedy or a harem or anything to do with love or getting jiggy with it, you know, and you know, you can think of a character that's completely obsessed with love that we haven't mentioned, put it in the comments below. All right.
That's a good challenge. I like that.
Yeah, it's a good challenge. Right. So, and then the last one we've got is Hidden Power.
Yes. This trope generally ties in with several related ones. The hero is exhausted, their powers are depleted, and they're about to be defeated by an opponent who currently has the upper hand. Cue the emotional flashback accompanied by touching monologue. And don't forget the music that reminds the hero of who they are, where they came from, what runs in their blood, and so on. After that's said and done, the opponent will likely hesitate instead of capitalizing on their opening, and the hero will summon a chunk of adrenaline-fueled strength / a suitable skill that lay dormant until that very second. As common as this trope is, it also makes for an unforgettable fight sequence. I mean, yeah.
Good trope when it's earned, bad trope when it's not.
I mean, it even happens in Demon Slayer.
Yeah,
but it's earned there.
But you can see why he's picking this as like his top spot, because it is in
everywhere
every fighting one. Everyone where there's a fight. In fact, somewhere there's not even a fight.
No, I kind of want to pull back on that. In tournament shows and things, sure, but like definitely in JoJo, definitely in
anywhere where there's a life or death situation.
No, but tell me when it happens in Full Metal Alchemist. Hidden power.
Opposite of. Very end of the thing, he learns to transmute with the power of his own soul instead of basic alchemy or anything else.
What, you mean when he sacrifices his knowledge? His ability
before that, he does sacrifice his knowledge, yes. But before that, he uses the power of his own soul the same way you'd use it as a Philosopher's Stone.
I don't remember that.
Okay. Still, it's
doesn't it happen even in Kobayashi?
When?
I seem to remember her flashing back. Oh, I'm probably imagining it. Probably just her saying, confusing her saying, like, I'm going to do it because I love Kobayashi to a flashback.
Mm-hmm. No, but again, that's more of the comedy thing. The what I mean is when there's actually a life or death battle on the line, and sometimes when there's even not, there's there is some kind of burst like that. Whenever the character gets to a point where they're desperate, whenever they get to a point where what they have is not enough, they find a new one.
To be honest, this feels a lot like plot armor. I mean, it is just, but at the same time,
part of it.
I feel that again, like a large part of this comes from ridiculous situations. I mean, Demon Slayer Season 2, the ridiculous situations, it kind of escalated out of control, very similar to a JoJo. But I will say that the situation with Full Metal Alchemist, that was building up for God knows how many episodes.
Yes. Earned good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not earned bad. But you can see why he's picked this as his top one, because it is so prevalent. It is so wide-ranging in its base of existing in anime.
Yeah.
It's literally everywhere. Hell, it's even in non-anime, right? It's Into the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales finds the ability. He gets his powers when he needs them, because he got pushed to the point where he needed them, and his emotions had to go to their very lowest state for him to actually activate them on command.
I mean, I get where this person is coming from, and I think part of the problem is that normal people would break at certain points, whereas in a lot of the Shonen Jump stuff, they keep pushing harder and harder and harder. You should have broken by now. There is no way on earth. Like you have tapped into your hidden potential a good dozen or so times, right? Your plot armor be thick, bro. You should have stopped. And I think that is again one of the good examples of when it's used poorly. And like, for example, I love Season 2 of Demon Slayer, but at the same time, I recognize this is one of the weakest tropes. Or sorry, this trope is one of the kinks in the armor.
Yeah.
When it comes to Demon Slayer Season 2.
How many times does he come away from well, even in Season 1, how many times does he come away from a fight just completely fucked up? And after a rest, he's fine.
Nowhere near as badly as in Season 2.
Yeah.
Right? Season 2, he's just like completely and utterly fucked, and I'm not even going to talk about fucking Devilman Crybaby.
Just let it go past. Let it
wash over you
down the river.
Longest 30 seconds of my life right now.
So yeah, it has to be earned for it to be good, but at the same time, it's just every show almost, and it's from the earliest examples of it to the most recent. When you have it's not even that the character has to dig deep sometimes. Sometimes it is just that they need to remember that they had it, or they remember they can use it in a certain way. So
I would be interested to know, is there a way to write it where a character who gains a superpower, right? Let's say Ichigo Kurosaki, who gets his Bankai and then loses, but him learning his Bankai basically teaches other people how to get their Bankai. It can be done, so on and so forth. And then they're able to get their Bankai. Like, it's like, to me, there is no value in... When?
Dragon Ball Super arc, where they teach Kaba how to do it, and he teaches kale and cauliflower by a completely different method of achieving it than he did.
So I don't know what you're talking about.
Doesn't Goku also lose in the original Dragon Ball? I've never actually fully watched the original Dragon Ball, so I don't know.
I've never watched.
In this case, when in a tournament arc, Vegeta takes on Kaba, who is a Saiyan from another universe, who is very strong but hasn't achieved Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan doesn't exist over there, it seems. And the Saiyans survive and are not so incredibly warlike, so they never needed to. And by pushing him really, really hard, he manages to put him into a state where he achieves Super Saiyan. But of course, Vegeta has so much more power and experience that he knocks him out of the ring anyway and wins. When Kaba goes back to his universe to try and prepare them for the upcoming tournament between universes, the proper one, he takes the two other strongest Saiyans, Kale and Cauliflower, and when he tries to teach them Super Saiyan, he can't be as ruthless as Vegeta. So he can't push them emotionally to the point where they would detain it the same way that all the other original Saiyans did. Trunks, Vegeta, Goku. It doesn't happen. So they ask him how it feels to get it. What do they concentrate on? Where does the power come from? And he actually explains what it feels like, where it's coming from. And they achieve Super Saiyan a completely different way to the way all the others did, by channeling their energy in the right place, basically.
And again, that works for me. I like the sound of this. This sounds really appealing. And the more I see of Dragon Ball Super on things like Instagram and TikTok, the more I'm interested in actually checking it out.
It drags a little bit in spots, but honestly, it's not bad.
I probably want to watch it in English dub because probably need to be doing other things at the same time. But yeah, it's again, hidden power. It's like, I can see why this is at the top, because it is it is the forefront of pretty much any action-based series.
Yeah. It's just good. Again, it's an easy way to get drama.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck it. One thing I'd love to say is I'd love to see Jotaro and Giorno fucking meet and wonder which one's gonna win.
The audience wins.
The audience wins every time. So
right.
I think we've got it, haven't we?
Yeah, I think that's pretty
all
much
the
it.
article.
As well.
Took us long enough, but we did it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let us move on with the show. We took a while. I think we spent too long on the first two, but I think we just got absorbed in that. So next we've got the supporter questions. So time to read the supporter questions. Right. Okay. So I'm gonna bring this down here. Zrugel. Oh, right. Before we start the supporter questions, I should promote the supporter program itself and say, if you're not a supporter, please consider helping out Just $1 or pound a month helps out a lot. All the money goes to the editors. I promise not to spend any of it on myself. I won't even buy pants with it. I really need to buy some. This is really
wait. Like, does he mean American pants or British pants?
Both.
Probably both.
Gosh.
What you call? I'm not allowed to buy Cadbury cream. That's rude. Anyway, no, sorry. Yes, you can see. Not even if my co-host begs me to. Well, I mean, I probably wait. I'm not gonna buy pants even if my co-host begs me to. Jeez. Right. So, but yes, no. If you do go to the supporter program on patreon.com/Xenogelion, I do have a Ko-fi as well. You will also be eligible for the extra content from Notice Me Senpai and Arbiters. So,
and early access to this show too, right?
Yes, if I ever get my shit together.
Access before I even timestamped it.
Access before you even timestamped it, or when it should have been released. Right, okay. Right, so Zrugel says, I have more of an interesting riddle than a question this week. What form of entertainment originates from Japan, is known for elaborate fashion, dynamic acting, exaggerated facial expressions, often depicted myths or folk tales, and can be described as bizarre by people not familiar with the medium.
I know. Sentai Rangers.
Yeah, I was gonna say live 2.5D play, which is what that Rusted Armor's show is based on.
VTubing.
Yeah.
Isn't it like those play performances where they actually have like the masks and
Kabuki?
No theater.
No.
No theater was the one I think Xeno's going on about.
Yeah, but I think so.
Kabuki is also.
Yeah.
Kabuki has a lot of fashion to it.
Yeah, I think it might be the Kabuki theaters. Right. Okay. So the answer is Kabuki theater.
Nice.
Hey, we got there in the end.
Cool. Right.
That was actually my first guess, but I wanted to go with a silly route.
Yeah, of course, the VTubers. Right. The Coolers Rugel. If the Kanpai Cast had to create a unique attack based on their real life skills and then yell out the name while attacking, what would the attack be and what would it be called?
Ooh.
Oh god, dude. Why are you doing this to me? So I'm pretty sure mine would be fuck Java, and all Java-based applications would just stop working.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think I would have to go with I'd call mine the digital press, and I'd smack somebody with a printer.
Mine would be cat interrupt, and it would spawn a cat that just interrupts the other person. Any person I decide. Yeah,
that's fucking brilliant. Just
that one I like.
Just to point out, like something really dumb about Java. If you install Java, as part of the installation process, it's got like a background of like all the places where, a background image of all the places where Java is installed. Part of it says credit cards. So apparently your credit card is powered by Java.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
No, I just thought it was like the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Right, anyway. The next question from the Coolers Rugel. Once again, basing this question on the cast's real-life skills, in what real-life situation would you most like to suddenly unlock a secret or hidden power that allows you to overcome the problem you are facing? Oh, I'd love to just unlock the ability to stop time and then just go have a nap and feel rejuvenated and then able to continue to do my job.
That's actually something I used to wish for as a kid, like an alternate dimension where time stops and I can just go there and sleep as long as I want.
And like not just that, but like if it's a case of I could stop time and then I could go to the supermarket, I go pick up my the contents of my trolley and everything, and then I just like start time right next to the till. And I'm like, yep, I just pop into it. It's teleporting, but kind of slow.
Yeah, so the long way.
Yeah, the long way. But of course, I wouldn't age.
Of course.
Oh yeah, because it's time for you as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like God knows how many years of my life. It's like Jotaro Kujo. He just gets younger as he gets older. So fine. Right. Okay. So that is it for.
No, because that's yours.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
What about Nasuth's?
Geez. If I had to deal with real people and not internet people, I would have the ability to read their minds and know exactly what they want me to say. There we go.
Would it be beneficial with cats as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Has to be.
Yes.
Has to be.
Can you hear him meowing? He wants out. He wants out of my room.
Mine's way more simple. Because I've got a form of dyslexia that actually affects my movements as well. So I do the wrong action even when I'm practicing and doing things the right way.
Yeah.
I just want to unlock the ability to dance. So I could win a dance competition. Just randomly. I want to be able to dance.
Yeah. Just have a dance off. Everyone just has a dance off. Right?
Yep.
Right, okay. So that is it for the supporter questions. The next thing we're going to move on to is the comments from last week's episode. Unfortunately, the episode was released a wee bit late because of a British Muppet. And I only had one that I wanted to make note of. So Zrugel says, "Lol, bashing Devilman Crybaby again," and it will continue to happen. It really, really will.
I feel like I wanted to highlight one, but I've either forgotten or ignored it. So I mean, must not be important.
I mean, can't.
It happens.
Yeah. Who knows? Right. Okay. So moving on to the memes. Right. Do you want to make the screen big for us?
I do want to make the screen big for you.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're gonna we can't see it because yeah. There we go.
Right. Meme number 1. Is Attack on Titan just a mech anime with Titans as flesh mechs? Attack on Titan fans, mech genre fans.
Yep, it's true.
Is it though?
Yeah, it is. Of course it is.
You win $1 million, but you have to give a quarter to charity. Everyone else with $750,000. Me with $999,999.75.
Nice.
Yep.
Attack on Titan. Oh, sorry. Regular Anime Beach episode. Attack on Titan Beach episode.
Oh
yeah, there was that.
A lot of Attack on Titan memes this week. Know the difference. Aquamarine. Aquamarine. I knew Zeno would love this one. I knew he would love this one.
Yeah, I've seen this one.
You're watching a horror movie. It's midnight. Your grandmother asks you to turn off the TV and go to sleep. Grandmother died 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure it's Najimi telling the story.
Yeah.
And then of course, obviously, Komi getting more and more agitated.
Yep.
And lastly, who would win? Master Ultra Instinct Goku or Kotatsu Kazuma?
Kotatsu Kazuma.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Master of his domain.
Right, for Xenos.
This is my first one. The final boss, watching me complete every side quest before the main quest.
Oh,
not Elden Ring like at all. Right, second one. Okay, so this is what's it called? A Goblin Huntress from Girls Front Line, and you got Goblin Slayer going, could this woman be one of my people? So, yep. Third one. So this is a comic. This is a 4-panel comic. However, I'm only showing you the first one. So go into the description below to see. It's my 4th meme. So we've got.
I think it's your 3rd meme.
Komi-san in. Is it my 3rd? Sorry, it's my 3rd meme.
Yeah, 3rd meme.
So go check that out. But it's Komi-san in kindergarten,
which can only be adorable.
Oh.
Yep, it is really adorable. Right, Americans when they visit another country. What? You don't shoot at each other?
It's true.
I asked your permission for this one.
Every American is issued a Glock at birth, and every Sunday is shoot at each other Sunday.
Oh, geez.
Absolutely.
Right, my 5th meme is
no.
Okay, so
oh no.
Corporate needs you to find the difference between this picture and this picture, and then you got C-Dog
Oh,
VA.
no, it's Connor.
They're the same.
Oh, the trash taste is real.
Yep.
I almost used this one.
Yep. Student council in real life, and then student council in anime. Yep.
Beautiful.
Because in real life, student
Galaxy
council do
Blade.
fuck all. It's so useless. I know you want to hit the big button.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
So that is it for our memes. Next week we have sad and horror anime with Sarah Sang, and we may even have Loz back. We don't know because we have to wait for to find out whether or not he's going to get his internet installed. Actually,
Going to be absolutely useless if it's me because I don't watch sad and horror anime.
Thaylien has to stay in this limbo until we release him.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Are we
do.
Trapped in
ready?
a tiny box with a kitchen.
All right. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Kanpai!
Kanpai!